Hello, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. How's it going? Let's sit back, relax, and have a great stream. Today, as you can see, we will be playing. Oh, what is all of that? Anyway, we'll be playing some Chrono Cross, the Radical Dreamers edition. We'll be starting with Radical Dreamers first. This is super loud. What up, Nixie? How's it going? You gotta do. I'm doing Radical Dreamers first. Don't you worry. You had just missed me saying we're gonna be doing Radical Dreamers first. Why do I all of a sudden have 6 notifications? I like how they have a music. Sorry, I was a part of that. I'm so excited. I'm glad you're excited. I like how they have a music player for this. So let's go ahead and roll on into that. I wire all of those up. I'm going to assume y'all can see those. That is nice. Yes, I agree. Turn those off. What up, Peach? How's it going? Presented by the Radical Dreamers, 1996. It all began with the notebook. Stop! With a notebook my mother handed me, and she told me she found it while cleaning out the closet. This old notebook, covered with mold, was a diary that belonged to my grandfather, who passed away years ago. It contained his distant memories. I'm glad that it's been good for you. It's been a bit. I'm glad you can make it tonight. I wonder if you still remember how we first met and our many adventures. It all seemed like a dream. We ran like the wind during those warm summer days long ago. You were a piece of a star that fell from the sky. This makes me excited. I love this. I can still really relive the memories of those days long past, just by closing my eyes like so and whispering your name into the desolate night. Kid. Kid. Go on, give me a third. Oh, only 2. I like the music so far. Kid. Ah, there's the third one. Hey, kid. Are you ready, kid? But, I know you're anxious, but stay on your toes. Yeah, likewise, mate. You mess up, and I'm leaving you behind. Get that, sir? Got that, Surge? I don't know how to... Voices are a no-go. I've never watched this part, by the way. I've never seen this part either. Come on, come on, Miguel, let's go. That bastard Lynx is gonna get what he deserves. Say your prayers. Not that'll do you any good. Wow, I know that line from somewhere. Hehehe. Ha 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 ha. Radical Dreamers. Le Trésor Internet. I probably butchered that. Change selection with this. Confirm with this. Cancel with that. Menu. Auto text. Adjust menu sounds. Escape. Escape. I don't care about that. We are obviously doing Surge. The old lady's the old lady the old lady's tip off was right on the money. The counterspell on the barrier around the outer walls could have done a real number on us. All the things, yep. Kids playing unadorned braid flickered back and forth across her shoulder as she walked. We picked our way through the elaborate lattice of the mayor's magic shield, moving in closer and closer to Lord Link's stronghold. There were 3 of us, Kid, McGill, and me. I guess it must have been 3 years already since I first met Kid. Back then, I was just one wandering musician, traveling wherever my feet would take me, and wherever my fine tunes would pay for a warm bed. It was in the Outlands, in a town called Regiora? Yeah, sure. We'll go with that. Ready for a Chrono Cross light novel? You're not wrong! Where we first ran across one another, and since then she dragged me along on a whole bunch of adventures, and misadventures too. Ah, Kid. She was a thief, and not just any thief, just a few months shy of 17 and already renowned as one of the realm's greatest. What's more, she was achingly beautiful, stylish, a joy to be around, and a dab hand at campsite cooking, or so she liked to claim. The truth was a little different. Those bandits whose hearts of gold you've heard about in stories, the ones who steal from the rich and give to the poor, yeah, that wasn't Kid's style. She was short-tempered, prone to lying, bossy, and obsessed with money, and rarely did she care to listen to a single word anyone said to her. But she wasn't all bad. Probably, maybe, sometimes. She had her moments, anyway. I glanced over my shoulder to see a shadow hovering behind us, blending into the darkness like smoke. McGill, also known as McGill the Shade. He was Kid's partner, but even after 3 years, I still knew hardly anything about him. All I know was that he was about 30 years old and not much of a talker, but he was one heck of a mage. I heard that he and Kid started to work together way before I met her. What a glimmering review of her character. Yup. He always covered the top half of his face with a mask, and I had never seen what he looked like underneath. He was a man so mysterious that it would sometimes seem like he was an interloper from another world. It wasn't like Kid wasn't exactly big on the details about her past, but McGill, he might as well not have had one, and Kid didn't seem to know much about her partner in crime either. What kind of man he was, what kind of life he lived before, nothing. You might ask how exactly I wound up being part of this merry band? Well, it's complicated. I guess you could say that life doesn't always turn out the way you think it will. Kid, who was heading up our little raiding party, suddenly stopped dead. Look lively, boys. We've got company. We glanced around warily as cold, cruel eyes emerged from the darkness. I heard a low growl. Dark shadows prowled through the night surrounding us. A pack of wildcats. There must have been about 10 of them. A thrill of fear ran down my spine. Flustered, I pulled my knife from my belt. Kid calmly shifted to a fighting stance. Watch yourselves. I don't reckon these buggers been treated for rabies. The wildcats snarled and growled as they slowly closed in on us, drawing the noose tighter and tighter. Their eyes glinted in the darkness like fireflies, and strings of eager spittle dripped wetly to the ground. Then one of them sent an aiming, almighty roar soaring to the moon, and the hunt was on. What was I going to do? There's actual combat? Oh no. Think fast! Kick died into the thick of the pack wildcats and gave the largest of their number an almighty kick to the chops. The startled beast gave a yelp as it was sent flying. I turned to my right to see a nearby wildcat was charging toward me, its head lowered menacingly. Panic, I tried to make a last-second dodge, but I wasn't quite fast enough. Its claw scraped against my side as it rushed past me. Get him! Ugh. I winced in pain for a moment, then turned to face my foe and readied myself. I defend myself. What the hell are you doing, Serge? Oop, incoming! Kate nimbly twisted her body to dodge an incoming wildcat attack and slammed her fist in the side of the beast's head. It gave a wounded cry, and while the blow was fatal, it collapsed to the ground and twitched with pain. Surge, behind you! Panicked by Kit's warning, I whirled around and came face to face with a pair of blazing eyes like hellfire. I attacked! A wildcat was coming right at me, but by reflex, I ducked its attack, swiping through the air directly over my head. I felt its hot breath on my cheek as it flew by me. At the same time, I thrust my knife outward, plunging it into the beast's belly. With a horrid cry of agony, the wildcat crashed face first into the ground. But I lost my balance in the chaos and fell down in a heap. So I rolled over and was only just able to stagger back to my feet before readying myself for the next opponent. I breathed heavily. The handle of my knife was slick with sweat, and I tightened my grip. With a quick bolt of lightning, Kid landed a clean hit on the flank of a nearby wildcat. It staggered before losing its footing, letting out a pathetic cry. But Kid had already moved in to finish it off. And then, the roar of fire. A burning smell filled my nostrils, and next to me a shrill screech pierced the air. Miguel's fire spell engulfed the head of a nearby wildcat. It fled, darting off in the darkness like an arrow. Apparently those events are timed because I didn't do anything for the first one. I scanned the area. Only moments ago we had been surrounded, but now there wasn't a single wildcat left. Kid and Miguel had either sit the rest off with their tail between their legs, or put pain to them once and for all. Ha! You're dreaming if you think a pack of flea-bitten moggies is gonna stop us, Lynx. Kate crossed her arms and flashed a triumph again. Meanwhile, I was panting heavily and felt like my legs were about to give out from underneath me. I collapsed to my knees, overwhelmed by what I had just been through. Woo! I had taken a few hits, but I was fine otherwise. A couple of scars to talk about later, maybe, but nothing that would stop me carrying on. Are you hurt? Miguel looked down at me, his face expressionless as ever. No worries, Mag. He'll be alright, said Kid, barging in to get a better look at me. He might be a whining sook, but it'll take more than a few scratches to kill this one. She was nothing if not sympathetic. But she was right. This is no time to be bemoaning my lot. We hadn't even reached the manor yet. I dabbed at my wounds with a tincture-soaked cloth and wrapped them with bandages. Then I look up at the other two. We're just getting started. We're just getting started, I grinned back, putting a brave face on things. That's what I like to hear, Kid cheerily announced from close quarters. But then her eyes turned cold like the cool glow of the moon in the night. It's gonna be a long night. I nodded, trying my hardest not to utterly lose myself to her pale blue eyes. Alright, let's get this show back on the road. She turned away and marched off deeper into the trees without looking behind to see if me and Miguel were following her. Miguel, of course, was already right behind her, his unhurried gait making it seem like as though nothing much had happened at all. I jumped back to my feet and chased after them. I'd be in a far more trouble than I bargained for if I got separated from them. The dark forest inside the manor's perimeter seemed to go on forever, a labyrinth of trees and boulders. The manor itself loomed in the distance, glowering over the vast grounds, and hidden within was a veritable amount of treasure just waiting for us. Lord Lynx was a noble who had ruled the remote territory of Regiora. He was also Kid's mortal enemy. We were there that night to steal a certain jewel he kept locked away in his most closely guarded vault, the Frozen Flame. The Frozen Flame was veiled in misery. It is said to be imbued with an uncanny energy and possessed of a beauty and clarity that made it a priceless treasure. Countless thieves had tried to steal it, and not one of them had come close to succeeding, nor had any of them escaped the manor alive. And now it was our turn to try and sneak into this place of death, led by a girl who had the ambition to make the impossible possible, a hunger for vengeance that drove her onward, and a desire for riches that could never be satisfied. As we pressed on through the tree-filled darkness, the shadows gave way at last, revealing the true extent of the vast mansion. Why does that remind me of Viper Manor? Hey, finally! Say your prayers, Lynx, because we're coming for ya. Keeping to the overgrowth and the shadows of the trees, we made our way around the manor walls in search of a means of entry. It should, fair enough. Eventually, we came to a terrace overlooking the garden. There was no sign of any gardens nearby. The only thing surrounding the manor was an uncanny stillness. This will lead us straight into the west wing. Just as well. We don't have any business in the rest of the manor tonight, said Miguel, gazing up at the dark building towering over us in the night. Alright then. What are we waiting for? With that kid made to vault over the railing of the terrace. Stop! Miguel hissed sharply. Remember what we're here for. Our main target is the vault, and the frozen flame within it. We focus on this above all else. Your vengeance is a secondary concern. Agreed? Glancing over her shoulder, Kid replied with a reluctant, yeah, don't get your knickers in a twist. But if we happen to run into him, I'm going to knock that Dorgo's block off. And neither you or anybody else is going to stop me. I guess Kid was going to get her way whether we liked it or not. Let's go, boys. The night is young. She cleared the railing with a springly hop and vanished inside the manor. I glanced towards McGill and nodded in silence. We followed Kid's lead and were soon inside Lord Lynx's lair. The darkness swallowed us whole. A corridor stretched off to the left and right from the terrace. It seemed dark, equally dark and chilly in both directions. I need a pen. I need a pen. Where's my pens? Left, Dixie says. Alright. We are going left. I would appreciate it if you connected. We passed on through the darkness, down corridors that twisted and turned like snakes. Snake-like, this way and that. Everything around us was still and silent, and it felt strangely like we were being watched. It was as if the countless eyes were staring silently from the shadows. Wow, that was fast! We continued, creepily cautiously down the corridors. Kid moved proudly and stealthily like a cat stalking its prey. While in the shadows, Miguel followed, guiding swiftly, and silently like a sinister breeze. We pressed on, and into the brace of the Weavers of Fate. I wish I could read that fast. We took the corridor leading from the left-hand side of the terrace, eventually arriving at an intersection with some stairs. The path to the right led down the stairs. The path to the left was a dark side passage, and the main corridor continues straight onward. Down the stairs? I would put a vault downstairs. Nixie wants left again? Well, Nixie wants left. We're going left again. We headed down the side passage. At the end of it, we came to an old, immaculately polished door. We went inside. Kid gently pushed the door ajar and peeked into the room. Oh, this is... Why is this giving me creep? The next thing I knew, she slid inside. Miguel and I followed. Miguel. Looks like a study. The room was lit by the moonlight coming through the long, slender windows, slanting down in pale beams through the darkness. Oh, I love this song. It was pretty big for a study, with an immaculate antique desk dominating the center. There were rows of bookshelves lined with thick, dusty old tomes. The wall to the rear of the room was decorated with paintings. The shelves of vases and painted plates stood before it. They all seemed curios from foreign lands. I checked the desk. I went over to the desk and started searching the drawers. There I found a neatly arranged set of pens, ink bottles, and other writing material, nothing of interest in this world. A small portrait on the desk caught my eyes. It was a picture of a young girl with a gentle smile on her lips. Who is she? That's the girl Link's adopted. If you ask me, it was because he was looking to help the needy. It wasn't because he was looking to help the needy. Said kid peering over my shoulder. Ah! She wrinkled her nose in distaste. Humph! Not even a looker. Suddenly there was a knock at the door. It wasn't a loud knock, but in the bottomless silence of the night, it might as well have been a thunderclap. Kid and I stood bolt upright and turned toward it. Miguel, meanwhile, hid in the shadows, drifting away like smoke. Panic, I whispered to Kid. Hide behind the door, in the shadows. Quick, get behind the door. We got our bodies low as we silently and swiftly made for the back of the door, where the shadows would keep us hidden. We pressed our backs to the wall and did our best to still our breathing. Slowly, the door opened. Flickering candlelight spread from the doorway with a warm glow. I held my breath. But it seemed that whoever it was didn't mean to come in. They simply stood there. Strange. I thought I heard something. But the Lord of the Manor is away, of course. Why would there be anybody in here? I have to get over my nerves. Everything was fine until we heard news that Pori was on the move. The figure quietly closed the door, plunging the room back into darkness. The voice trailed off to a whisper. We remained motionless, keeping our ears pricked for any sign of an unwelcome return. All we heard were footsteps moving away. So Pori has made its move. Miguel emerged from the shadows, contemplating the news we overheard. Kid, if the rumors are true, we might well be able to find ourselves in a very difficult situation. This seems to set her thinking too. Pori was the powerful nation that ruled the southern continent. I've heard it was a prosperous land whose recent and sudden development had pushed it far ahead of its neighbors, which made me wonder, what would its inhabitants want here, out in the sticks? They couldn't be after the frozen flame too, could they? As valuable as it might be, a jewel was just a jewel in the grand scheme of things. I couldn't imagine it being an item of national interest. I mean, ultimately it was just a pretty rock, right? Humph. Let them do what they want. If everyone's busy playing soldier, they won't be bothering us. Come on, we've got things to do. She headed for the door. We left the room and made our way back down the side passage. So now do we continue straight? We made our way back down the dark side passage leading from the study. Eventually, we arrived back at the intersection. The stairs led downward, and the corridor branched left and right, with the right branch leading back toward the terrace. Well, let's go down the stairs. Slowly, we crept down the staircase, descending deeper into the blackness as we went. At the bottom of the path split. The way to the left continued on to an atrium that resembled a sort of plaza, while the path to the right was a winding path that trailed off into the darkness. Atrium sounds like a trap. I mean, if you want it. Picked her head to the arch-shaped... I know nothing. Kid poked her head through the arch-shaped door and took a look around. Huh. It's big in here. Must be some kind of hall. We took a cautious look around and then entered, one after another. The atrium was like a beautiful plaza, complete with a statue that doubled as a fountain. Pillars and arches lined the walls, and in the center was a small pool of clear water, above which a statue stood. On the other side of the room, I could see another arch entrance, like the one we had come through. Ooh, that's cold. Kid was scooping up water from the fountain. I went over to her and, resting my hand at the edge of the marble basin, peered into the pool beneath. Shadows flickered underneath the water's surface. You reckon those fish are rare? As invaluable? Kid leaned right over the edge. I couldn't see the bottom. I wonder how deep it was. The shadow of one of the fish grew larger and larger. Whoa! Sensing danger, Kid leapt back to the edge. Clack! A fish leaped out of the water and snapped at her, its jaws bristling with razor-sharp teeth. Its mouth closed shut on the air where she had only been moments before, and with a splash, the fish darted back underwater. Pteranodons. Deadly carnivorous fish with razor-sharp teeth and powerful jaws that could snap a monster's horn in half. Huge fish! Staring in horror, I watched as dark shadows begin to gather in what little of the pool I could make out. The pteranodons must have detected prey. Soon the room was filled with the sound of splashing and snapping as the fish teemed at the water surface. Bloody hell. Even Kid was uneasy. She took another step back. How many pteranodons were in the pool? The thought of what happened if they all leapt clear of the water and attacked at once crossed my mind. Beat a cold sweat rolled down my forehead. Suddenly, the water coming from the statue turned crimson and shot out in a powerful jet that nearly touched the ceiling. Kid jumped back again as I stood in shock, watching the torrent of water erupting from the statue. The scarlet waters continued to gush out from the fountain. The pool grew redder and redder and redder, and started to overflow. This is why you keep fresh meat on you at all times. We looked on, entranced, but the spell was soon broken when we realized that the water was starting to flow faster and faster over the rim of the basin. The pteranodons began to jump and snap at the water surface with bloodthirsty glee. I was brought to my senses by the bold snapping of pteranodons hitting the floor. I'm too slow! A bolt of flame shot up my calf, and I came close to fading. I stood my ground as best I could, flickering away from the pteranodon that had hit me. But soon, a horrible ringing in the shadows began to circle the water around me. I was surrounded. What am I gonna do? Rush to the exit of the quick. There's the exit on the other side. I put in the doorway opposite Kid. I tried my hardest to rush across the real pool, seeing up great gouts of crimson water, but it was as thick as blood, and I found myself struggling to move. I felt the sharp jabs of searing pain as countless pteranodons snapping at my legs. Kid gritted her teeth and hurt. Sir, we gotta do something before we return to the mincemeat. Rush back the way we came. Kid, let's get out of here. In a panic, we splashed in the water back to the corner from where we came. The fangs of the pteranodons snapped at my legs, and I felt searing pain, but I had to endure it if I had any hope of reaching the entrance. Breathing heavily, I found myself back in the corridor outside. Ooh, that was a close call. So, whole thing was a trap, eh? Talking about twisted, Lynx is even more of a sick bastard than I thought. I was about to say he wouldn't have to be if he didn't have to guard against people like her breaking into his home, but I thought better of it. Fish! Well, at any rate, I think we can consider that a dead end. Let's go back. Defeated, we left the atrium. Something caused Kid to stop in her tracks. Hello, hello, what do we have here? She pointed to a side of the entranceway to the hall. I found myself face to face with the sculpture of an old man's face with a truly phenomenal beard. The sculpture's eyes seemed to gleam with life. For a piece of marble, it seemed almost too realistic. It's a mouth of truth, announced Miguel. An enchanted statue that can tell when you're lying. If it catches you out, it'll bite your hand off. Miguel kept his explanation simple so that Kid wouldn't drip off before he got to the important part. Huh, so what's it doing here then? I suspect it's part of a greater mechanism. Sorry, I have a shake I'm trying to finish. Stick your hand in its gob, do you? Righto, let's see what happens, shall we? With a mischievous glint in her eye, Kid darted over and stuck her hand in the mouth without a moment's hesitation. She stood for a moment, waiting, but it didn't take long before her to get bored. Nothing. Suddenly I had an idea. Hey, Kid, who's the greatest thief who ever lived? Drink that shake! Ha! Me, of course, you draw. Kid answered without a moment's hesitation, and then suddenly her face twisted with pain. The teeth of the marble sculpture had clamped down on her hand. It bit me, she cried. Knock it off. Everyone knows it's true. Ah! The sculpture bit her again as soon as she spoke. Girl, you little... A cold sweat formed on Kid's forehead. The sculpture was tightening its grip. It won't let go until you say something true. Despite the obvious urgency of the situation, Miguel was matter of fact as ever. Just say anything, Kid. Anything, as long as it's the truth. Obviously, Kid wasn't listening. Instead, she just kicked awkwardly at the statue. Oi, Beardy, let go of my bloody hand! She planted her feet on either side of its mouth and tried her hardest to pull her out. She heaved, kicked, and stamped, grunted, and strayed. Here, let me allow that. Surge, you dick. And then finally, her hand popped free. I was taken aback by what I just witnessed and couldn't say a word. See, told you it was the truth. Kid raised her hand in the air triumphantly as if to demonstrate. I could see heavy bite marks. The sculpture hadn't come away from the struggle unscathed either. Kid's attempt to break free had left it cracked in several places. Holy shit, Kid. That was pretty mean of him. Yeah. Miguel pointed silently at part of it. I went to look closely and saw a pale, flesh-covered tongue. I expect we're supposed to put something there, commented Miguel. Something? What exactly? I replied. Kid stood for a moment, lost in thought, and then she started to unload all the knickknacks she's been carrying. It was a strange collection of odds and ends pulled out from her pockets, her boots, and even her braid. Alright, Serge, now it's your turn to have to go at the stupid statue. Kid grinned at me, holding her assortment of knickknacks out of the palm of both her hands. I guess she decided that whatever further horrors the statue had in store, she'd rather not face it them herself. Nice, Kid. Real nice. Grumbling to myself, I reached out to pick an item. I chose a small silver familiar, a file, a centipede. Why does she have a centipede in her pocket? Anyway, a tube of lipstick, some dried grapes, a length of fine thread. I don't even know what a petard is. Verilium scroll. To not waste my time on this. I don't matter. I don't care where she got it from. Why was it with her? Petard is an explosive. Oh! Oh, come on. I picked up the sizable petard. Anxiously, I shoved it inside the mouth of truth, but nothing happened. Let the professionals handle this, Sarge. Kid shoved me aside. She was holding a match. Wait a second. You can't be serious. All the blood drained from my face. Deadly serious, mate. Before I could say another word, Kid lit the fuse. An explosion followed, accompanied by a puff of white smoke. When the smoke cleared, the mouth of truth came into view once more, still intact, but now very badly cracked indeed. Not quite enough oomph to knock its block off, eh? Should have brought a bigger one. Kid stood there with her arms folded, calmly commenting on the mayhem she just caused. What do you think you're doing? I can't believe you just set that thing off like that. Kid shot me a look. What do you mean? What else are you gonna do with a bomb? She was a complete and utter liability. Well, any more ideas, Surge? Asked Kid breezily. I choose. A beryllium scroll. I picked up a particular piece of partner, bracing myself to shove it into the mouth of truth. Ha ha ha. Nice one, Mr. Master Thief. You think it's a magic scroll or something? Kid doubled over with laughter. Guess that didn't work. With a sheepish chuckle, I pulled it out again. Oops, my hand slipped and the scroll unfurled. It was filled with strange symbols. Noticing the confused look on my face, McGill spoke. It is a decoding chart used for the Imperial Guard's field of reports. Huh? Well, it's all gibberish to me. Wouldn't be much of a code if it wasn't, would it? Kid muttered witheringly. I was too embarrassed to reply. Once I clawed back some of my pride, I attempted to recover. You'll have to walk me through it sometime. She just pouted and looked away. Oh, so you can't read it either. Boy, can I pick my moments. Fine, if you're not going to take this seriously, we're leaving you behind. Sometimes she can be as cold as ice. I'd really done it now. She made to leave, but I grabbed her gently by the shoulder. Look, I'm not messing around. I'm sure the next idea is going to work. I believe it. I believe it when I bloody well see it. Kid didn't seem convinced. The stakes were high. I looked again at her collection of knickknacks and chose. I don't know. So I've done a bomb. I've done the scroll. Yeah? I took a small silver mirror. The sculpture stared impressively, its marbled beard still commanding my attention. I stuffed the mirror into its mouth. It didn't seem to be right on for the job. Don't see any cavities. Yeah, very funny. Now give me my favorite mirror back before it chomps into pieces. She lost her patience and snatched it off me. It's a rather nice mirror. I pictured her gazing into it as she braided her hair. You want to try something else? Asked Miguel dryly as I chose. Some dried grapes. Took a small bag of dried grapes. One by one, I fed them in the sculpture's marble bar. Munch, munch. They actually ate them. That's enough, Surge. Those are my emergency rash situation. Kid snatched the bag from my hand. I still had the last grape, though, and I popped it into my mouth. It was absolutely delicious. And not for you either, sunshine, growled Kid, glaring at me. You gotta take this seriously, Surge, or I'll leave you, alone with Beardy. She was clearly annoyed, but I didn't, I hadn't worn her patience completely thin just yet. I decided to try something else. I chose the centipede. Oh, that is just... What are you walking around with a centipede in your pockets? I reeled back in disgust. This isn't your pet or something, is it? Don't be thick, Surge. It's a toy, not a pet. Toy? You could have picked something nicer? It is nice. Nice for giving people nasty surprises. She seemed to think it was an entirely reasonable attitude. Entirely reasonable to her, maybe. What was she doing with all this stuff? I reached for the rubber centipede. Trying not to think too hard about what I was doing, I stuck it into the mouth of truth, only for it to fall down its throat. Surge, you'll pay for this, growled Kid, staring daggers at me. Yikes, I'll get it back, I promise. Stealing my nerve, I reached into the mouth of truth. Suddenly my hair stood on end. It was licking my hand. The giant, uncanny tongue slopped back and forth across my fingers like I was a lollipop. We have a glow-in-the-dark centipede. Yes! Oh, I'm gonna puke. Keep it together, Surge. Do it for the centipede. Kid's support didn't do much to help me, but I somehow managed to pinch the centipede with the tips of my finger and pull it out. You must really love this thing. Not really. I just hate to see stuff go to waste. I'm sorry. What? Why had I even bothered? Well, no luck there either. Want to try something else as Kid? Almost like this was a game. I just want this to be over with, and I reached for the next item and chose. Oh my god. That's what JoJo must have gotten it from. Where JoJo must have gotten it from. That's funny. So we tried the grapes, we tried the centipede, we tried the bear, we tried the squirrel, we tried the petard. So file, lipstick, or length of fine thread. Let's go with the fine thread. Took a piece of thread, a length of finely spun silk. It didn't seem like a good idea to just shove it in, so I tried dangling it from the statue's mouth. Watch yourself, that stuff ain't cheap. It's made by royal silkworms, I have you know. Kid watched me critically. The thread slipped deeper and deeper into the mouth of truth, and then I felt it slightly tug. I tried winding it carefully back around my finger. At the end was a small piece of paper. Nice one, Serge. That's got to be a clue. Kid's eyes lit up with delight. Score. What's this? Kid looked confused for a moment, and suddenly the statue's tongue leaped out of its mouth. Ugh, what the bloody heck? Kid leapt back like a startled cat. Boing! With Kid safely out of the way, I was the only target left within reach. Ugh, it's all sticky. I'm gonna be sick. The tongue was had covered my face with thick, warm saliva. But strangely, I felt a sort of glow in places where it had licked me. My aching wounds began responding to the warmth. Miguel was leaning against the wall, watching the spectacle in silence. I'm guessing that wasn't the one then. What's next? I chose. I've used so much stuff! I took the file and placed it inside the mouth of the marble sculpture. It didn't seem to be right in for the job. Crunch, crunch, crunch. I was stunned. The mouth of truth started chewing on the file. It was eating it. Ugh! Kid screamed with rage. My file! My lovely, scratchy, scrappy file! I can't believe you just let that happen, Crunch. You're in big trouble now, mate. She was cleansing her face and trembling with fury. Sorry, I'll get you another one, I promise. I also wanted to add, just don't hit me, but thought better of it. I'll hold you to that, muttered Kid, threatening to grumble. If you're gonna feed the statue all my stuff, we're done here. I promise, that's what I'm trying to do. You better not be, mate. Once again, she showed me her collection. I chose, is it really not to waste my time on this? I picked up a small lacquered tube of lipstick, and without knowing quite why, smeared all over the statue's mouth. What are you? My lippy! Kid exploded with a fury at the sight of the mouth of truth, bright red lips. What are you getting so mad about? You don't even wear makeup. It's for marking our path to make sure we don't get lost, huh? I didn't realize. Guess that would explain why you brought it with you. And what exactly is that supposed to be, grr? What's so funny about me having lipstick, anyhow, grr? Gulp. Nothing at all. Didn't take much to tell that this was the calm before the storm. You better buy me some more when we're done here. Yep, she was bad, alright. Okay, I'm sorry. Let's just try something else. Kid gave me a audible glare in response to my apology. Take this seriously or I'm through with you. I gulped and nodded in panic, then reached out for the next item. I chose. Done. Is it literally to not waste my time on this? I lingered for a moment, but pulled my hand away. It didn't seem like any of them was what we were looking for. Alright, let's just forget about it for now, muttered Kid, stowing all the valuables. I'm sure we'd find a use for this stuff. Whatever, best get moving, eh? Defeated, we left the atrium behind us. I'm guessing we didn't have the item for it? Leaving the atrium behind us, we immediately found ourselves at the fork of the path. To the right was the passage leading to the some stairs leading upward. Dark passage particularly directly ahead of where we stood. Oh, this is gonna be awful. Like, I almost need to map this dungeon out if it's going to be like this. Like, it actually is being intelligent about this, and I'm going to die. We left the atrium and continued down our path ahead. Eventually, we came across an ornate door on the right-hand side. Something smelled fresh and pleasant. Flowers? Was it coming from inside? We went inside. We found ourselves in a tiny welcoming room. The knickknacks and curios darted around the place seemed to be well loved. The stately desk and a cozy-looking bed nearby, meanwhile, suggested the room's occupant was no stranger of luxury. Though the room was richly furnished, somehow it still felt awfully lonely. Kid took a quick look around before commenting, "It's Lynx's girl's room." Half-written letter on the desk and a teacup still warm suggested the Lady Manor was still nearby. But it didn't seem that anybody was here now. We decided to search the room. Such charming... yeah, people told me stuff about this game, but like I said, I don't know anything about it. Other than it's supposed to be short. Short, you say? Oh, I like the fact that you can see us in the mirror. Harley! Some charming flowers, discarded carton handkerchief, and a small bottle of perfume. Nothing that meant much to me, nor anything that seemed valuable. Kids seemed to have the same impression and scanned the room, clearly not expecting to find anything. The only item of note was a small antique box, which bore a crest resembling a viper. Like, not 40 hours long. But is it 20 hours long? Is it 5 hours long? Is it 5 minutes? Those are the important questions here. I picked up the little box. I picked up the small wooden box on the bookshelf. I gently opened the lid and was greeted by a soothing melody. There was something about that song. I know this tune. Kid was standing next to me, and I could see something had changed her expression. You do, huh, kid? Someone used to sing it to me a long time ago. She turned her gaze downward and went silent. Kid? Startled, she turned to me. If you know what you're doing, it's supposed to take about half an hour. Guess who doesn't know what they're doing? Her eyelashes glistened, as if wet with dew. She walked to the door, not saying a word. Hey, kid, wait up. We left the room. She was crying. Was she crying? Was kid crying? Maybe I was just seeing things. The path outside the room continued to our left and our right. Path to the light ran deeper than darkness manner, while the path to the left took us to the atrium and another bridge. Path to the right. We went down the dark passage and found ourselves in a sturdy-looking, immaculate, polished door. Kids are there, just as I thought. Something stinks here. I reckon we found the beast's lairs, lad. In the darkness, kids looked twisted into a grin and turned around. We went inside. Kid opened the door and slipped inside. It was Lynx's room, but he didn't seem to be around. Heh, the bugger's gone and scapered because he heard I was coming. There was something deeply unpleasant about the room. There wasn't anything unusual about the furniture or fittings. Not how they look or how they were made, but taken as a whole, it felt discordant. Was this a reflection of Lynx, a seemingly ordinary facade that hid a disturbing truth only some could see? What's up, Noble Wolf? How's it coming? Come on in and sit back, relax, and have a great stream. We're playing Radical Dreamers. It is the game that is in between Chrono Trigger and Chrono Cross. We ended up playing Chrono Trigger. We got the standard #1 ending and the Dream Eater ending, so that way we can lead up to this game. Because, yeah. Yeah, it's choose your own adventure story time. Let's see what we can find. The desk drawers, the paintings on the wall, the vase on top of the side table. We left no stone unturned. There didn't seem to be anything suspicious. But as I scanned the room, something unusual caught my eye. There was a pedestal in one corner with a significant-looking scarlet cloth drawn over it. I slowly raised my hand toward it. Be careful what you touch in here, warned McGill. I pulled my hand back timidly, but then the cloth flipped back with a flutter without me having laid a finger on it. Did that thing just move by itself? Exclaimed Kid, her eyes wide with surprise. Gripped by curiosity, we moved in to see what had been hiding. It was a large antique mirror with of an elaborately decorated style I'd seen before. It wasn't the kind of thing you normally see that would normally see out of place in a mirror like this, and yet, wait, something ain't right," said Kid. Meanwhile, I was captivated by the gaze of the statue of Venus reflecting in the mirror. Suddenly, the eyes of the statue shone with light. "What is your desire?" It spoke with a voice that was crystal clear, yet smoky and husky. The mirror, it's speaking, I stammered. Ah, whispering mirror, muttered McGill, as if he had seen them 1,000 times before. Who are you, McGill, and why do I like you? What's one of those? Kid gave McGill a quizzical glance. A magical mirror in which a spirit dwells. The spirit can freely move between its own and other mirrors and will share its wisdom with those who ask. Perhaps we should ask it something. I decided to ask it about something that had been on my mind for some time. You know him. Do I know him? How do I know McGill? Thanks for the follow, Noble Wolf. We appreciate it. If you want, Noble Wolf, I do have a Discord where I post when I'm going live and my schedule. He changed his name. Is it Magnus? Please tell me it's Magnus. You know, it sounds like Magnus. Yes. Oh, nice. I asked about Kid. I want to know about Kid's past. Not if you want to leave this place alive, you bloody don't. Kid's face turned red with anger. Your wish is my command, responded the mirror, ignoring Kid, who had grabbed me by the collar and was complaining ferociously. The image of the mirror rippled, and the reflection of the statue shook. And then the mirror's surface grew dark. He's traveling with Kid because he's still looking for his sister. But didn't he erase his memory? Like, didn't he erase his memory in order to, like, at the end of Chrono Trigger, after the Dream Eater thing, he erased his memory, couldn't remember who he was or what he was looking for, only that he was looking for something. The blackness gave way to a scene in Rigiora. Shadowy figures appeared one by one. There was a young woman surrounded by several children. They were all dirty, their clothing ragged and worn, but they all laughed as they played together. And then the scene was drowned in flames, and a troop of armed men appeared. The men dragged the woman away, and the children vanished, one by one, into the inferno. Do I look like I did everything in Chrono Trigger? I mean, fair enough. The focus shifted to one of the children, a girl. She was standing there with her back to the flames, her tears leaving tracks through the soot on her face as she howled at the night sky. The girl's right eye was narrow like a cat's. Stop it, Kid screamed. The image of the mirror grew faint. Kid stared at the ground, her hands balled in a tight fist. The room was dominated by silence. Warning her, I broke the silence. Kid, I'm sorry, I'm leaving. She spun on her heel and made for the door. Wait, I cried, and sheepishly darted after her. As long as Luca remembered stuff, she probably made the suggestion to Magnus. The corridor stretched out beyond the door. We retraced our steps. Eventually, we came across the door to the left-hand side. It was Riddle's room, Lynx's daughter. We continue on our way. Left to the stairs, straight to the atrium. We're gonna go left to the stairs. With Kid leading the way, we started to climb the stairs. At the top, we found an intersection. Taking the right corridor would lead us to a dead end with a large door, while the left led to the terrace. The narrow side passage in front of us was open. We went down the side passage toward the study, that terrace. Let's go back to the study. Yeah, that's what this sounds like. This sounds like an AU. We're looking for Lynx. This is not Viper Manor. Leading the group as usual, Kid stopped. What's that? She downed her finger at something in the darkness. Turning my eyes, I can see a pale white bundle of something shaking in the shadows. How that's strange. It moved in front of Kid to try to get a better look. And then suddenly this strange person started crawling across the floor towards us at an unbelievable speed. But it is Viper Manor. Riddle is there. Exactly. I don't have time. I think this is an AU. I didn't have time to brace myself. The white figure reached my foot and then reared up to its full height. It was a skeleton. The skeleton and I stood face to face. Its empty eye sockets stared straight at me. Or seeming to, at least. What was I going to do? Tackle the skeleton. I charged in to tackle the skeleton. Yard. There was a crunching sound and a clattering bones, and the skeleton was knocked back by my blow. His body split clean at the waist. Better luck next time, muttered Kid dryly. As if in response, the skeleton's upper body picked itself up from the ground, turning its skull toward me, bracing its body with its left hand, and then pulled the skull from its head with its right. What's it do? Ah! Before I could get the words out, it heaved its skull at me. What was I going to do? Catch it! Whip! I caught it with both hands and flung it and slammed it into the floor. I slammed the skull into the floor. It smashed pieces of the side, and as soon as it had, the skeleton starts to collapse to a lifeless heap. There we go, ladies and gentlemen. It won't be troubling us anymore. Time to move on. I was doing great. I felt like nothing could stop me. Maybe you ain't such a drongo after all. Just goes to show any old weirdo can make something of themselves and put it to your mind to it. Kid's eyes glinted with mischief. We made our way back to the leading. Eventually, we were back to the intersection. Do we go back to the terrace? Oh, the terrace came into view. We kept following the corridor. We found an ancient-looking door again on our right. The kid pressed her ear against it, listening for any signs of life. Dead quiet. Don't reckon anybody's in there. We opened the door. In we go, Kid stealed her breath and reached for the handle. The door wasn't locked and swung open. It swung slowly open. That was a good fight. What's the room supposed to be? Place is dump. King poked her head in through the door, taking a quick peek to see if there was anyone inside, and was disappointed by what she found. The room was large and littered with particular-looking machinery and knickknacks, all of which were covered in dust and had seemingly been dumped there haphazardly. It looked like it had been there rusting for a very long time. The ends of the room were completely dark, and it was impossible to tell just how big it was, or even what the walls and floors looked like. It seemed the manager's inhabitants had turned the old clock tower into a makeshift storage space some time ago. I stepped warily inside. Leave that alone. I looked over towards Miguel and saw a kid trying to pull something from the shadows. It was a huge sword that appeared to be very old indeed. You don't need that to old bludgeon. It'll get in the way. And as much of an antique as it is, it won't fetch much on the market in this condition. Yeah, I reckon it might, you know. There's plenty of collectors who just love old bits of junk. Well, some old bits of junk. Pouting Kid left the sword where she stood. At least she put it back down gently. And it was then that we heard a voice from the shadows. What exactly are you doing here? I just about jumped out of my skin. Who's there? Kid and McGill turned toward the face of the voice, ready to fight. A wizened crone emerged from the shadows. She was hunched over and wore a hood drape over her face. I could tell at a glance that she wasn't just old. She was positively ancient. She's some dodgy old bag. What do you think you're doing, sneaking up all like that? Kid's shoulders relaxed as the tension left her body. McGill, however, continued to give a woman a piercing stare. Ooh, what an impish little thing you are. Here to visit a friend, perhaps? Not in the dead of night, I suspect. The crowd narrowed her eyes. Let's get a closer look at you. Ah, yes. You must be here to get your revenge on Lynx. How did she... My heart jumped. She seemed to know exactly who we were. We were in trouble. What if she sounded the alarm? We'll have to give up on the treasure and run for our lives. What are we going to do? Definitely tell her she was right. So what if we are? Kid narrowed her eyes back down to the crowd. What's it to you if we were gonna get a revenge on an old Lynxy boy? You gonna do something about it? You never changed, do you? The old crone chuckled madly, her small frame shaking. Ah, the boldness of youth. Yes, that's the spirit. You what? Kid looked at the crone, completely confused. I was no less mystified. What the heck are you on about? Oh, it must have been 4 or 5 years ago. Yes, it was about that time an innocent young thief stole into the manor looking to singe Lord Lynx's whiskers. She couldn't have been much older than 10. Now that I think about it, she shocked her gaze toward the kid. A wet glint had appeared in the kid's eye, but her glare was like ice. It certainly felt like as if the temperature in the room had suddenly dropped below freezing. With a chuckle, the girl continued her story, pretending not to have noticed the change in the mood. She was an orphan, you know. Came after Lynx to avenge a woman who'd loved her like her own daughter. But all the vengefulness in her world couldn't change the fact that she was only a little girl. She was no match for Lynx's men, sadly, and they quickly captured her. Lynx is the kind of man who wouldn't fear to have an ally, never mind a foe. Had it not been for the timely assist of a friend of hers, the girl would have certainly been executed. The way the people of the manor told it, the very shadows pitied the girl and rushed in to spirit her away. I wonder how much of that tale could be true. I have nothing but sympathy for those who know failure, of course. You can't win all the time. And sometimes, against all odds, fate really can be foiled, and the clockwork of history sent into disarray. No, the ones I have no patience for are the ones who do not recognize their failure, or fail to choose to give up as a result. The crone looked up from under her hood, stared the kid directly in the face, and grinned. Kid anger faded, giving way to a dumbfounded expression. If you wish to steal the jewel from Lynx, if you truly wish to triumph, you'll have to let go of the treasure, of a treasure of your own, kid. For as long as you cling on to it, the hands of your clock will never move. They'll stay exactly where they came to rest all those years ago. Who are you? Oh, me? Well, I'm just an old hag, like you said. I do apologize. I must have taken up a lot of your time with all my babbling. I leave you in peace. Oh, but before I go, the crowd turned to face me. You seem to be injured, young man. If you wish, I could take a look at your wounds. With all the attention suddenly towards me, I panicked a little. Alright, please do. Alright then, please do. The crone muttered a few words while her bony fingers drew signals in the air. Pale, gentle light began to surround my body, filling me with a strange warmth. Struck a light. There's no ordinary spell. Kid was impressed. I felt my wounds healing, and I heard a nostalgic melody that soothed the wounds in my heart. Before I realized it, the crone was gone. Hey, lady! Kid's straightened her eyes, scanning the darkness. There was no one to be seen, and her calls went unanswered. Who the bloody heck was that? Kid looked like she had just woken up on the floor of the Laughing Pig after a few too many. And what does she mean about having to let go of a treasure? Well, we won't find any answers here. Time to move on. Miguel brought us back down to earth, emotionless as always. It almost seemed as if nothing had happened at all. Yeah, I guess you're right. Kid walked away quickly to the door, keen to move on. Hold it, you. Just as I was about to follow Kid out of the room, she jabbed me at the side with her elbow. You stingy little bugger, Surge. Why didn't you tell her to share some of the healing magic with the rest of us? Classic Kid. The door led back to the corridor, which stretched off to the far right. Rightward lay the depths of the window, while the left led back to the terrace. We would go right. Came down the corridor, we came across a rather sturdy-looking door on the left. A little further on to the stairway leading upward. Classic Kid. Well, this door is clearly meant to keep something safe. If there ain't any kind of treasure behind it, my name ain't Kid. Sniff, sniff. Yep, that's the smell of cold hard cash, all right. She muttered to herself as she began to inspect the door more closely. We lit inside. Bah, what am I, stupid? Of course it's bloody locked. Kid had tried the handle a few times before giving it a grubby kick. Bloody door's got a magic berry on it, and the bloody berry's got a berry of its own to boot. It'll take more and me putting the boot in to get through it all that. I see. Unless we find the key, we don't have hope to getting inside. Reckon I can handle a key hunt, especially if That idiot's Link who's hiding. I suppose we can find, if we can find his room, I'll sniff it out in 2 seconds flat. Just you watch. There was a little more we could do here, so we decided, to look elsewhere. We continued on. The corridor ended at a foot of some stairs. With Kid in the lead, we headed upwards. It was dark. The stairwell was narrow. We watched over our footing carefully as we climbed. The stone of the steps was one sort of age, and I lost count of how many there were. So we spiraled onward and upward. An awful sense of foreboding haunted me. I had no idea why, but it felt as though we were marching to the gallows. When we were to the top of the stairs, we were greeted by an old heavy door looming in silence. All was deathly silent and still, clammy air, and the sense of things. Something went very wrong here, I muttered without thinking. I hear cursed whispers from beyond the door, Miguel added, doing nothing to lift the moon. Ah, grow up, will you, Kid shot back at her icily. She was already examining the door. Well, it ain't locked, and I don't hear anyone inside. We turned back and went downstairs. I said we'd check this room another time. Miguel, didn't seem keen on going in. What? You want to turn back? Fine, have it your way. Kid shrugged grumpily. Strange, she didn't usually care for other people's suggestions when she put her mind to something. Maybe some unconscious part of her could sense something terrible on the other side of the door. Without dwelling on it any further, we went back down to the stairs to the floor below. With Kid and Lee, we headed down the stairs. We went downstairs and continued, eventually coming across a sturdy door on our right. The corridor continued onward to the terrace. We continued on. We continue on. We kept following the corridor. We go down the stairs. We go down the right. Continued on our way. We went inside, came to the door, and slipped inside. I knew he wouldn't be here. But there were any signs of the key to the vault. Maybe she could help. The kid said, thrusting her chin towards the mirror. Gently pulled a soft cloth from the mirror and started into the glass. It was dark and like the surface of a lake at night. What is your desire? I asked for the key. Do you know where the key to the vault is? The mirror reflected rippled and changed to revealed a room with numerous bookshelves. A deep, sonorous voice spoke. You will find the key in the place I have revealed. The study. It is inside a book with a purple cover in the furthest bookshelf from the door. It's even the Viper Manor theme. You're not wrong, it is. The image of the study vanished in the mirror and the voice went silent. It appears the spirit has left for another mirror, commented Miguel. To the study then. As I made to leave the room, a low voice rumbled through the air, stopping me dead in my tracks. Beware. He knows. Was it the voice of the mirror again? What did it mean? Hurry up or we're leaving you behind, Serge, called Kid from outside and flustered and ran after her. The corridor stretched out beyond. We retraced our steps. Eventually we came across an ornate door. We continued on our way until we reached an intersection. We're going up some stairs. We're taking the corridor to the right. No, the side passage toward the study. Kid stopped us. There's something there. Listen carefully. Rattle, rattle, rattle. A figure appeared in the darkness on the other side of the corridor. It's a skeleton. We ready ourselves for a fight. What am I gonna do? I attacked. Come on, then. I looked at the skeleton. It lashed out with its sword. Blood dripped from my face. Step of the blade and scratched my cheek. Eep! I jumped back in a panic. Hope you brought your brown trousers, careful kid. We stared off against the skeleton. It threw the sword it was carrying to the ground and took a step forward. And then it twisted its body into a strange pose. Wait, is it doing what I think it is? It proceeded to contort itself further, adopting a shape that can only be described as highly suggestive. For a moment, no one knew quite how to respond. What the bloody hell? What should we... Wait, kid, look at Mag! McGill seemed completely bewitched. There was no way he'd be any use to us in this state. What are we gonna do? I attacked. Fall then, I charged the skeleton. Took advantage of the opening created when it raised its sword. And kicked it so hard as I could in the lower spine. There was an almighty crack as the bone snapped and the skeleton fell in two. A split second later, Kid landed a massive blow at the top half. With its skull shattered, the skeleton immediately came to a halt. Guess you can fight after all. We defeated the skeleton. I mean, a scratch. Kid turned her attention back to Miguel. Can't believe this drongo, though. Thwack, she brought her fist down hard on his head. Maybe that'll wake him up. Now, if you're done here, let's get a bloody move on. What was I? Ow! Ow! I was doing great. I felt like nothing could stop me. Maybe you ain't such a dongle after all. Just goes to show any weirdo can make something of themselves and put their mind to it. Kid's eyes glinted with mischief. We headed down the side. At the end, we came to an immaculately polished door. The study. We went inside. Right, let's find this key. Light on her feet. As always, Kid moved to the center of the room. Where did the mirror say it was a concern? She was asking me, how was I supposed to remember? The book with a blue cover near the bookcase. The book with a red cover near the bookcase. In the far bookcase, if I remember correctly, with a purple cover. I think it was supposed to be a little purple with the farthest bookcase. Alright, let's see. Seeming to take my word for it, Kid made it to the case in question. Right, this one. Purple cover, purple cover. Ah, this has got to be it. Kid pulled the book from the bottom shelf. Miguel and I watched the open. The pages were hollowed out, and hidden inside was an old key decorated with strange symbols. Nailed it! Nice one, Sarge. Kid snatched the key from inside the book. Right, time to finally get a look inside this treasure. Having got what we came for, we left the study. As we made our way through the silence of the corridor, something cold landed on me from above. I put my hand in my hair and felt queasy-inducing sliminess. Ugh! Slugs! I lifted my head toward where it had come from, and the mass of disgusting creatures hit me full in the face. Blang! As fast as I could brush them off, more and more landed around me. It was literally raining slugs. Before I knew it, they began to pile up wetly around my feet. They crawled all over me, and I flailed and flapped as I tried to shake them loose. Quickly, back the way we came! But as we turned, we saw the entire corridor was writhing mass of creatures. It looked like the floor made of them. A shiver of revulsion ran down my spine. I ain't trampling over a little carpet of grossness. Kid shook her head violently, clearly far from amused. But the more we stood there, wondering what to do, the more they kept piling up. We're just going to charge through them. I threw caution to the wind and threw myself down the teeming corridor. Like that, is it? Well, I ain't staying here on my own. Kid was clearly at a loss of what else to do, and she barreled after me. Slugs rained down around our ears as we ran, and oh, how we ran. We hammered along as if our lives depended on it, and as we went, the oozing juice of the slugs we trampled sprayed and splattered all over us. Our feet were soon soaked with the stuff. Whoa! My foot slipped, and Kid smashed into me from behind, and the two of us went flying and landed on the floor of the heap. Damn you clumsy arse, Surge! She grimaced at me through a mask of slug ooze. I tried to stand, but they just kept falling. The slug storm had developed into a deluge. We were on the verge of giving up. It was almost more than either of us could take. They were up to our knees now, and we were wading through them, desperately trying to make some headway. We didn't dare talk for fear of them falling in our mouths, and as if we didn't have enough problems already, a single solid mass of slug matter suddenly reared up ahead of us. Wait, it's people-shaped? And sure enough, a humanoid form had emerged, clutching what looked like an enormous scythe. a scythe which suddenly came hurtling toward me. I threw myself to a side. The monster scythe whooshed in the air toward me. I kept my body low and dodged to avoid the attack. I was alright. It only grazed my clothes. But I still had to be on my guard. A bloody demon, spat Kid. So all the creepy stuff was an illusion? The slugs disappeared like smoke. But the demon was still there. It readied its scythe again and began inching towards us. What was I going to do? I waited to see what it would do. Watched the demon carefully. Keep a tight grip on my knife. I didn't wait a moment and let rip with a spell. Ball of flame slammed into the creature. I could smell the stench of burnt flesh. The demon's eyes reddened, and it bared its fangs. Cursed whispers filled the air. It was casting a spell. I bravely slashed at it with my knife. Leave this to me, I yelled at exactly the same time as Kid. I slipped around to the left side of the demon as it swung down its scythe. Whoosh, the blade sliced the air with a hair's breadth from my nose. It's like a moment later, and I had no nose left to speak of. Kid took advantage while the demon was focused on me and moved to stab it full in the back. The creature let out a grotesque howl and collapsed to the floor. Ha! Did you plan to be the decoy so I could finish it off, or was that just a coincidence? Either way, it did the trick. Kid beamed with pride. The demon's blue blood pulled to the floor as it lay there, writhing in pain. Its face contorted with agony. It glared at us and began tracing strange shapes on the ground with the last of its strength. Kid sensed that something wicked was afoot. Just die already, will you? But the demon carried on its writing, strange shapes forming from its blood. Eerie light illuminated the hastily scrawled curse. And then there was a flash. Lightning-like bolts of energy danced around my feet. Kid, who was standing right next to the demon, jumped back with a start, and then it started drawing even more strange symbols. She took advantage while the creature was still concentrating. She twisted her body, triggered her leg, and began to swing in a graceful arc right into the demon's belly. With a final grasp, it collapsed on top of its unfinished text. And at last, it lay still. I was doing great. I felt like nothing could stop me. Maybe you ain't such a drongo after all. I'm guessing that means that I've done good in my fight. After a short, the terrorists came into view. We kept following the corridor. No, we don't want to go down this door. We came across a rather sturdy-looking door. A little further inside, somebody fights. Yup. Well, this door is clearly meant to keep something safe. It ain't something treasure behind it. My name ain't Kid. So, yeah, alright, cool. We went inside. This should do it. Kid slipped the key we found inside the lock. Lines of magical light flashed across the surface of the door and vanished as various magical barriers were dispelled. Up, down, left, right, blue, red, green. Every color under the sun, and then all was quiet, and the darkness of the manor returned. Right, we're in. With a creak, the heavy door gently swung open, and as soon as I saw what was inside, I gave a gasp. Kim stepped aside. Whoa, we hit the mother lode. Oh, are we really there? Out of the darkness loomed a veritable mountain of gold, silver, priceless works of art, and exquisite trinkets. Kate looked as if she was on the verge of drooling at the sight of it all. But what thief wouldn't have been? After all, this was the kind of hoard that few people would ever come across in their lifetime. The smallest fraction of this vast amount of riches would have seen even the most careless speed thrift set for life. Oh my god, you found stuff. Yep. Our goal is to froze into flame. Ignore the rest. McGill spoke with an icy dedication to our mission. He had not even batted an eye at the sight that greeted us. Yeah, I know. She was disappointed, of course, but she soon set about scanning the room for the object over her heart. Wait, is that it? Look at the pedestal over there. I turned to see what Kid was pointing at. Mouse. There it was, a small, perfectly formed jewel that gave off a pale red light. A jewel that looked like a flickering fire suspended in time. The frozen flame. Silently, McGill walked toward the pedestal. I called out. Wait, we have to be careful. You're right, this is Lynx we're dealing with after all. It may very well be a trap. We should stay on our guard. We need to be quick about this, but fine, have it your way, grumbled Kid, looking away. Miguel examined the panels for a short while and then paused. We were wise to be cautious. Basically left the light on the base of the pedestal. He muttered an incantation, quickly drawing signals in the air with his right hand. Some glyphs appeared on its smooth surface for a moment, blazed brightly. There, now we can proceed. Miguel calmly reached out and grabbed hold of the red jewel. Da-da-da-da! Search for obtained the frozen flame. Why did they feel the need to put that in there? Phew, we managed to get what we came for. Anything horrible happening to us? Without anything horrible happening to us, I breathed a sigh of relief and turned again toward Miguel. He was staring silently at the jewel in his hands. Miguel, we did it. Let's get out of... Before I could finish, the frozen flame crumbled to dust. This flame was a fake. Link's supposed to be keeping the real world somewhere safe. What? Suddenly, a siren rang out. The room was flooded with light, and metal bars slammed in the door in front of us. I turned with a gasp to see Kid frozen, an ornate crown in her hands, and a wide-eyed look of awkward shock in her face. Da-da-da-da! Kid and friends attained a gold crown, too. You're kidding me, right? You had to go, and you complete bonehead. I'll let rip with a stream of choice insults. In my head, that is. You're trapped. Metallic parrots. Metallic parrots? Is this crosscode? In the four corners of the room suddenly came to life, flapping their wings and screeching. Rock thieves! Thieves! We're in trouble. These things are going nowhere, said Miguel, expecting the bars covering the door. Although to look at him, you wouldn't have thought there was anything wrong. Which way? Which way? The parrots! The parrots! To the vault! To the vault! We heard voices in the distance. The mariner guards were coming. Kid dived behind a pile of gold coins. Find somewhere to hide. In a panic, I looked around the room. There was a large chest sitting wide open next to the pillar. I rushed to empty it out, then plunged in headfirst and closed the lid. Captain, there's no sign of them anywhere. No sign. Look through the room, you bloody idiots. Strange. Particular. No one has ever escaped before. None have ever fled the mousetrap's clutches. None. I gently pushed up the lid of the chest and peeked through the gap. There were 5 goblins wearing suits of armor, unlocking the gate and about to make their way inside. One of the goblins looks around, jerking his neck as he peered into the shadows. Captain? What if it actually was a mouse this time? Chief was grumbling about mouses the other day. Chef. My bad. Chef was grumbling. Captain. A mouse, a rodent, a rat. Would a teeny tiny thing like that really have sprung the trap? Replied a stocky, plump-looking goblin who must have been the captain. He didn't seem convinced. That was when I heard a strange but oddly familiar sound from the corner of the room. Squeak, squeak. It was coming from where Kid was hiding. Startled, the troop of goblins stopped and looked at each other. For a moment, none of them spoke. Eventually, the goblin captain rubbed his chin through his jowls and offered his thoughts. Mouses. I'm sure Chef was complaining about cats. Meow, meow. That voice again. Again, silence. The goblins only look at each other. Funny you should say that, Captain. Why, I heard it weren't mouses or cats. It was a heckran. I know what a heckran is. Awkward silence followed. In my mind's eye, I could see Kid rattling her brain to work out what a heckran was. Meow, meow. I smell a rat, by which I mean a thief. Following the captain's lead, the guards reached for their weapons, and then heck. Heck, 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 heck. Run, heck, ran. Listen, it really is a heckran by heck. That proves it. The goblin guards grinned and nodded to each other. Cheeky little devils surprised me there. Let's get out of here, boys. The goblins filed out of the boat. I breathed a sigh of relief. You want squeaky paw times during this? I have to go get them. Give me 5 seconds. I had to hide them because my parents were coming into town, and I don't think they know about my weirdness. So give me 5 seconds. Ready, Squishy pose! What's cute, Nixie? What's cute? Did I miss something? You, all of you. How am I cute? I'm not cute. And then they came charging back in with a mighty roar. There's no such thing as heck reds. That's not true. I killed one in Chrono Trigger. What, you sneaky little buggers? Were a kid leaping out from behind a pile of gold coins. I'm happy now. I'm glad you're happy. You're one to talk, thief. Brandishing their weapons menacingly, the goblins moved slowly forward, forcing Kid into a corner. I quietly eased open the lid of the coffer and slipped out. Can't leave you anywhere, can I? I muttered to myself. I knew Kid could handle herself, but I didn't fancy her odds against a whole troop of heavily armed goblins. For a moment, I wasn't sure what to do, but then I made my mind. I had to save Kid. Right, I had to save Kid. There was no way I was going to abandon a friend in need. Even if it meant facing off against a group of 5 goblin guards, I'll find a way to come out on top, I hoped. I drew the knife from my belt and leapt in the middle of the room. Hey, schnot for brains, over here! Goblins all turned to look at me at the same time. 10 beady, cruel little eyes, all staring daggers at me. Fool, in a hurry to die, are we? I gulped and wondered if making a run for it might have been a better plan of actions after all. Ah, humans are so stupid! The goblin captain chuckled and licked his teeth. Yep, this one's got a death wish, all right. Why else would he be so stupid to come after Lord Lynx's treasures? Ha! That's a first. Being called a dumb by a bloody goblin. Try acting tough when you're crying to your mom later. Judging by Kid's response, she wasn't feeling massively threatened. And you tell her it was Kid who kicked your teeth in. So you're Kid, are you? The sneaky little, slippery little thief we've heard so much about. The goblin narrowed his eyes. Lord Lynx will be thanking me for now until my retirement when I bring him your head on a silver platter. The goblin captain pulled his morning star from his waist and started swinging. You don't know who you're messing with. We ain't no ordinary goblins, sweetheart. We're Lord Lynx's elite guard. The goblins that gobble other goblins. That's right. The Gob Squad. Oh, quit shooting off at your mouth and let me stick your boot in it. And with that, Kid launched into a lightning fast spin kick. Her boot connected with the side of the goblin's head with a crack, sending the creature tumbling to the ground. Get him, lads! The boy looks scrawny. Starting with him. The goblin captain spun the heavy metal ball of his morning star in the air. Glorious gob strike! Aye, aye! The goblin charged across the room in response to the captain's command. Gob strike incoming. A goblin rushed toward me, swinging his weapon overhead. I dodged the attack. I swiftly dodged the attack. Well, I tried to, at least. The morning star slammed into my shoulder with a sickening impact. I writhed in agony, at the same time trying not to lose sight of where the next blow might be coming from. Yeah, that's the spirit, scrumbag. I ain't done with you yet. Miguel conjured a black wind, which surged forth like a shearing tempest. How do humans know it smelled like that? Who are you? The goblin was quickly silenced as the rushing winds tore through it and collapsed to the floor with a final shriek. Miguel looked down at his victim, his expression unchanged. And the goblin flew down from overhead. Bombs away! With a growl, it sent its morning star swinging from above. I jumped up for the counterback. I was better off attacking than trying to clumsily jog. I tackled the goblin head on and bounced heavily off its enormous rock-like body, smashing head first into the floor. Ugh! The shock of the impact jolted into my body. Gob strike incoming! I readied myself to parry the attack. I just about managed to push my enemy's attack to the side and tried to strike back with my knife, letting a heavy blow right into the goblin's unguarded flank. The goblin's face crumpled in agony. Kid lashed out with a lightning fast kick. There's more where that came from. Please have mercy! The stricken goblin had collapsed to the floor, its eyes wide with fear. This isn't a game, Surge. Watch yourself, will you? Another goblin flew down from overhead. Bombs away with a growl. It swung mortal. I rolled away. I rolled across the floor, dodging the attack. The mortar started crashing to the flagstones, sending sparks flying. That was a close shave. I made good my escape by rolling further, clumsily putting some distance between myself and the attacker. Swinging the weapon overhead. I readied myself to parry. Managed to push aside my enemy's attack and turned to strike with a knife. Although the goblin knocked away my attack with a flick of his burning arm and sent me crashing to the ground. Ah! Shot single flash of black light struck through my head. Man, I'm not doing well. Another of the goblins hesitated for a moment, only to be run through a spear of pure lightning conjured up by Miguel. The goblin let out a blood-curdling howl as electricity coursed through his body and clutched awkwardly at his chest where it had been struck, as his face contorted with agony and horror. McGill's cape fluttered, and his piercing eyes stared coldly at his victim. None who defy me shall escape my wrath. Another goblin flew down from overhead. Bombs away. I roll away. Dodging attack. The mortar star crashed at the flagstone. That was a close shave. I made good my escape, putting the... I dodged the attack. I swiftly dodged the attack. Well, I tried... Oh, come on! We've already read this. Long live Lord Lynx. Glory to the Godside with his final words to Goblin Clouds. That was the last of them. We made it. I took so much damage. Ha, piece of cake, said Kid, putting on the brave things and things as she wiped sweat from her brow with her arm, and then she stopped to look at me. Surge, what were you thinking, you great dongo? Getting the gobs to come after you like that? You really didn't have to, you know. Still, thanks. Can't say that I wasn't happy to see your crazy arse jump in like that. She acted smiling at me. Kid smiled kindly at a light inside me, and with that, a particular warmth that came in ripples. And then Miguel stepped in. Save the chatter for later. We can't waste any more time here. The flares of flame must be somewhere else in the manor. All right, Mike. Thanks for the stating the obvious. It's not my fault, bloody fault that Lynx has to make bloody difficult for everyone. Kid spun on her heels and made a skulky face. Suddenly, her attention returned to the pile of defeated goblins. These bunch of jungos said they're Link's elite guard, right? Bet they've got some nice loot on them. With that, she started unceremoniously rummaging through the fallen captain's pockets. She was like a hyena sniffing for scraps. Hello, hello, what's this? She found an old metal plate. It resembled an open hand, and it was covered in runes. Reckon this might open some other magic door somewhere. Well, never know when it might come in handy, either. Finders keepers, the plate vanished inside Kid's pocket. Looks like there's nothing else worth taking unless you count your, pocket lint, and bits of string. She rose to her feet and looked around the room. You know, it's a real shame to leave rest of all this loot, just sitting here unloved. I suppose you can come back for it, whenever. Kid turned to face us and flashed a grin. Alright, lads, let's move on. It ain't gonna be dark forever. Ah, Smurfykins, how's it going? I see you on a Anna. Glad you could be a part of this. Hi. How's it going? Oh, chilling. Well done. Glad you enjoy it. I am not keeping a timer on these, so for this squeaky pod. So, you know. Oh, so happy. I'm glad you like them. I like them too. I don't wear them out in public often enough. And I'm slightly upset about that. But I'm also slightly self-conscious about it. So, you know, we take the small victories. I've got to go to a doctor tomorrow, so I might not wear it. Hopefully the doctor visit goes well, and, you know, we'll go from there. And with that, we left the vault in search of the real frozen flame. Oh, my eyes. Sorry, they're watering. What are these squeaks he is not confident wearing? So I have, gloves that are covered in fur on the backside and a paws on the front. So, they're squeaky paws. Think almost like a partial fursuit. Like, I've got the paws, I've got a tail. Technically I've got, like, small leg warmers, but they suck. They're really, like, tight, so, so yeah, I don't... And you are... I mean, I'm not gonna wear them to the doctor. I thought about, but, like, if I go out and stuff like that, I don't wear them. I'm saying tomorrow I am going to a doctor, and I won't... I have no intention of wearing them then. But, like, if I go out and do stuff, I don't wear them most of the time. Like, occasionally, if I'm feeling up to confidence, I'll like, wear them. But most of the time, I don't, and it's because I'm, like, a coward. I'd wear them to the doctor. Fair enough. I gotta go to the doctor to try to get my meds re-prescribed to me. So hopefully that goes well tomorrow. We want to go towards the terrace. I think I know what to do with the plate. We continue on. Keep following the corridor. I just want to identify how you express yourself. I guess you can call me a furry. I always thought, like, that idea was really cool. Like, I don't know if I necessarily want, like, a full fursuit, but, like, I like the idea of partials. I mean, that's the whole point of being a kitsune, though. Like, I can go back and forth between full, partial, whatever. As y'all will see at some point in the future when I actually get a model, I'll be partial fur. We're gonna go down the stairs. I'm a partial. Yeah, same here. We're gonna go to the left towards the atrium. Swim to the buggy. Yeah, you can count on me. How am I supposed to charm the victim with a big chunk of bitten out of me? Guess she had a point. Here's a better plan. Why don't we go back to Beardy and try sticking something down his gob? Do I have to? I asked, knowing the answer, which is probably just as well, since Kid only glared at me in response. My hand hovered for a moment before I finally reached for something I chose. The hand-shaped plate. Okay, I am in the corner of Twitch. In that corner of Twitch, I understand now. No judgment, just wanted some understanding. I mean, that's fine. I don't mind telling y'all. I mean, what's the worst y'all gonna do? Hate me? I'm doing this for fun and enjoy y'all's company. So, worst case scenario, you leave, and it's like, it sucks, but I like human curves, but toe beans in the middle of the furry feet is just adorable and satisfying. You're not wrong. I like that too. I was saying something and I forgot what it was, but I took the hand-shaped metal plate we found, and taking another look at the runes, I was no closer to working out what they might mean. Here goes nothing. I stuck the plate into the mouth of truth's marble maw. As soon as I did so, the eyes rolled upward, and the wall gave a light judder. A low rumbling sound came from the sculpture's mouth. This, indeed, is the ultimate truth of the universe. Did you hear something? Yeah. I watched the Mouth of Truth in confusion. Its great marble tongue lolled out, almost like a snake. It coiled around the plate, seizing it and pulling it deeper inside. What the? What's going on? In a panic, I looked to Miguel for answers. Seems this infallible truth of the universe has left even the mouth of truth tongue-tied. Miguel answered in his usual deadpan manner. I think he might even have been trying to make a joke. Hang on, so that plate thingy revealed the truth of the universe, and and you went and crammed it down Beardy's gullet. Do you realize how much we could have sold that for? As a player of Chrono Trigger and not Cross, is this a true sequel to Trigger? And will I appreciate the connectedness into what happens in Trigger? Okay, so, before we go any further in this, Chrono Cross is and isn't, in my opinion, it is and it isn't a sequel to Chrono Trigger. The reason why I say that is because originally, the short answer, meow. Yeah, the short answer, meow. So, originally for the Super Nintendo, Chrono Trigger did not have any links to Chrono Cross whatsoever. Chrono Cross came out, and in Japan, the Radical Dreamers, this game that we're currently playing, which is like a visual novel, was released in Japan to kind of tie in some of Chrono Trigger to Chrono Cross. This does have some late game spoilers to Chrono Cross, but without it, you couldn't really grasp how the two games were connected. Now, when they re-released for the DS, Windows, the DS, Windows, iOS, and Android, when they re-released, actually, technically, let me rephrase that. When they re-released Chrono Trigger for the PlayStation 1, they included an ending cutscene that showed Luca getting a child. Cross has lots of connections. There's literally Marlo, Chrono, and Luca in it. Epoch is in it. Pure is literally one of the places you go to. Okay, fair enough. You've got me there, Nixie. But, like, you can miss some stuff in it. Like, I missed probably several of that. Like, I completely didn't even think about Pure being in Chrono Cross. Totally didn't think about it. I think I missed the Epoch as well. Balthazar. Alright, yeah, can't miss Balthazar. But yeah, it's like it's a sequel. It's just weird. Like, if you aren't paying enough attention to it and don't remember a lot about Chrono Trigger, you will have no idea. I played Cross first. Fair enough. I didn't. I also don't remember a lot about Cross. I love Cross to death. I just don't remember a lot about it. Like, because I played it back when it first came out. I recently played Chrono Trigger, so, I remember a lot of... It's like an adjacent sequel. Yeah, I'm having a late dinner, so a visual novel is just fine right now. Perfect. So yeah, Nixie remembers and knows more about it than I do. I got a new game today and look forward to... Ooh, what game did you get? I like new games. I just bought like 3 last night. I think, Mental Unit, Code Vein, because Code Vein was on like an 80% off sale. And Dragon Marked for Death, because I plan on playing that with Syrup at some point. 13 Sentinels Aegis Rim. That's made by Atlas, right? I kind of want to pick that up, too. I'm still considering picking that up. Radical Dreamers is like a lead into the alternate dimensions with Cross using some terms to lead from Trigger to Cross. Got you. Like I said, it's been a while, Nixie, so I apologize for my misinformation. It's been... Jeez. Years. Like, it's been a long time. Like, I don't think it's probably been 20 years. Giant mecha, kaiju, time travel, all in a visual novel plus real-time strategy kind of game. Yeah, Atlas. Oh, it's Atlas. Oh, yeah, okay. Couldn't remember. I think about Cross every day. Technically Vanillaware, whoever they are. Oh, I know Vanillaware. They're an interesting little group. I think about Cross every day. So, here's the thing, Nixie. I wanted to emulate Cross forever and a day, but I couldn't find a good emulator for the PlayStation 1, nor did I have a good controller for it. So I couldn't do that. And then I think I could have technically bought it on my Vita, but for some reason something told me not to. And I guess if something told me not to, I might not have picked this up, because this is making me want to play it, because I hadn't played it in, call it the better part of like 15 years or more. Yeah, it's been like that long. All good. I'm excited to be here for this. I'm glad you're excited to be here for this. Alright, back to this game. Kid kicked the floor in frustration and snapped her fingers. And then drains on all sides of the room suddenly opened wide. Hey guys, and the red water formed eddies as it sank away. Helpless, the pteranodons were washed away with the current. Soon, only trickles of water were left, slowly dripping away. Well, that's a circle look, ain't it? Guess we won't be sleeping with the fishes tonight, grinned Kid, looking at the empty pool. We crossed the drained room, making for the exit on the other side, and pressed on. Drains? Drains? Yeah, drains. Oh! We went through the atrium and continued down the corridor before finding ourselves at a fork in the road. The corridor stretched off to the left and right. Well, I guess we're going left. We continued down the corridor, eventually reaching an old, rather sturdy-looking door. Bloody marvelous. Another bloody door with a bloody magical berry on it. Wonder what's inside. My six tells me it ain't treasure. Kid whistles back as she examines the door. I expect this is the Manor's dungeon, replied McGill. His eyes closed in concentration. I can hear the sound of someone moaning in the darkness on the other side. But there is something we can do, and thus it is little concern for us now. Let's turn back. With no way getting through the door, we retraced our steps down the corridor. After making our way down the corridor, we came to a branch of the path. The right would lead us back to the atrium with the fountain, and the corridor would continue directly ahead, though completely shrouded in darkness. We want to go straight. We continued down the dark, dank corridor until some stairs leading downward we finally came to do. We're going down the stairs. Slowly, we crept down the staircase, descending deeper into the shadows as we went. At the bottom, we found ourselves at an intersection. The dim, narrow passageway branched left and right. I guess we're going left. We continued on down the corridor until we reached ended at a large door covered with scratches and other odd marks. Above the door was a wooden plate. It bore the legend "Guard Room" in elaborate calligraphy. Well, reckon this might be where we find the key to the door upstairs. No getting past that bloody magic barrier without it. Kid pressed her ear against the door and listened carefully. Doesn't sound like anyone's in there. We went inside. And we're going to die. Kid opened the door. The room had seemed completely silent from the outside. And so we thought immediately. But inside, it was a lone goblin. It was sitting in a chair with a book in its hand. A light steam drifted from the teacup on the table in front of it. And with it, a delicate aroma. The goblin peered at us curiously over his spectacles. There was something different about this one. I could tell it much at a glance. Heavens, how rare is it to have guessed? Heavens. How well spoken for a goblin. I can only feel dread and suspicion at the sight of him nonetheless. Sorry, mate, but we're not your guests. Come up the key to the dungeon if you want to live. Kid slammed her knife on the table to illustrate her point. But the goblin didn't so much as flinch. Ah, you must be Kid. What a pleasure this is. I have always wanted to meet you. Why, you're even more ravished than the rumors would before the goblin could finish. Kid's knife flew through the air. With a quick flick of his wrist, the goblin caught the blade with the back of his book, a mere inch from his face. Ah yes, radical dreamers. What up, Ray? I see that your approach is as radical as the name of your merry band would suggest, the goblin said, pulling the knife free from, and handing it back to Kid. She took it without a word. But her gaze had changed. She was like a cat, cautiously studying its prey. And I was just getting to the good part, too. Ah, well, I suppose I shall have to give up finishing it now. The goblin casually flung the book over his shoulder and into a nearby bin. Allow me to introduce myself, if I may. I'm Grismeld, and I am the guard on on watch. No need to stand. Please do take a seat. You're welcome to tea, of course. The goblin beckoned us to sit. Did he mean to poison us? If I may. Miguel calmly took a seat, ignoring the obvious suspicion in the air. I sit down next to Miguel. I decided to trust Miguel's instincts and take a seat next to him. He had some kind of plan in mind, I'm sure of it. Kid didn't look like she was pulling up a chair anytime soon. She was standing with her arms crossed, eyeing the goblin suspiciously. The goblin poured 3 cups of tea. Here you are. Without the slightest hint of hesitation, Miguel took his teacup and lifted it to his lips. He sipped and then placed the cup back down on the saucer. Himalayan tea, not a blend I expect to find here. What a pleasure it is to encounter a fellow connoisseur. Yes, it is a rare blend and one mainly enjoyed by the noble classes. I couldn't believe the conversation I was hearing, but I also couldn't help wonder why this rare tea might taste like. My eyes rested on the cup that had been poured for me. I couldn't shake the fear that I might be poisoned, but I also couldn't ignore how delicious it smelled. Before I knew it, the cup was in my hands. This is great, I blurted out. I've never had such a delicious brew in my life. My aches and pains faded away. And I've been healed! Yay! I glanced over at a kid who was blowing maniacally at the liquid in her cup. I'd forgotten that she was paranoid about burning her mouth on things. Now that we're comfortable, let's get down to the brass tacks, as they say. I do indeed have the key to the dungeon, as you surmise, but you will also be aware that I cannot simply give it away. I glanced over at Kid again. Typical, she wasn't listening to what Grimspeld was saying. She was still huffing and puffing at her tea. It seemed that it would be up to me to respond. Here's our offer. Give us the key and you get to live. I suppose that means you want something in return. You'd like to know what I want? I want your head, Grimsveld eyes. Rather, I'm sure that's what my employer would have me say, but no. I have no such barbarian desperation. Furthermore, I doubt I'd be a match for you. Grimsveld chuckled as he said this. What I live for is the joy of conversation, which I fear my compatriots are ill-equipped to supply. Perhaps you may have 1 or 2 ripping yarns to share. Grinning, he added, I'm sure notorious thieves such as yourselves must have more than a few thrilling tales up your sleeves. So you wanted to hear a story. That seemed more than a fair price for the price to pay for the key. I closed my eyes and thought, I know, just the story. No. How did it begin? One night, a young girl was walking alone in the forest, and then she was searching for a golden sunflower, the only way to cure her mother's sickness. Then the poor girl went out through for 3 days and 3 nights. The fragments I remembered seemed about right. There was only one way the story could end. I took a breath and began the tale. One night, a young girl was walking alone in the forest. She was reaching for the was looking for a golden sunflower, the only way to cure her mother's sickness. Poor girl went without food for 3 days and 3 nights, and then in her moment of dark despair, she saw a brilliant light. It was none other than the golden sunflower she sought. The young girl gratefully pocketed the sunflower seeds. These will surely save my mother, she thought. But it was all a dream. While with a smile on her face, the girl drifted off and dreamed forevermore. That was beautiful, murmured Kid, wiping a tear from her eye. Grimsmeld frowned. Not quite what I was expecting, and not the most riveting of tales, but I suppose it will do. The key, as promised. I take it from Grimsmeld's hand. Something didn't seem right, though. Was he really going to give it up so easily? And was it really all right to trust such a strange goblin? Grimsmeld seemed to notice my suspicion. He leaned back into a chair, looking at the ceiling. When I was a young tyro, a braver, stupider goblin, I once served General Viper, who was the lord of this manor until he betrayed Lord Lakes. There's our connection, Nixie! Lord Viper was the person that betrayed Lynx, and so Lynx took Lord Viper's banner. Despite his boorishness, Lady Riddle always saw something in me worthy of praise. Wait, Riddle? What's Lynx's adopted daughter got to do with anything? Oh, you didn't know? Riddle's real father was none other than General Viper himself. What? Lord Lynx spared Lady Riddle's life so as not to snuff out that of the frozen flame. It's an uncanny stone, you see. Has a life of its own and some kind of spiritual bond with Lady Riddle. If only there was some way that I could free Milady from this manor. Alas, I am I alone am too powerless to do such a thing. Also, one final squeak before I take these off. Squeaky paws are now done. It's been several minutes, and I want a drink of a cold beverage that requires my hands to open it. Ah, Mountain Dew. Of course, I would have no qualms if, say, you were to topple the usurper. I assume you intend to do so. Slay the old beast, I mean. It was a strange inquiry to make so casually. Well, if it comes to it. I was little more than taken aback by the directness of Grimswell's question. I never expected to find one of Lynx's own guards asking me something like that. Suddenly, I was shoved aside. Not if it comes to it. We're going to kill him tonight, and kill him for good. It was Kid, of course. And, in exchange, I'll have some more tea, more of that tea to take with us. Kid held at her hand before Grimswell could offer an answer. I suppose I have a bag I can share. Grimswell shuffled awkwardly in his seat as he retrieved it. As ever, I was impressed at how Kid's uncompromising attitude and willingness to speak her mind seemed always to give what she wanted. Bonzer, sit tight and leave the rest to us, mate. Stowing the bag in her pocket, Kid took the job. You can trust me. I'm a girl of my word. That might have been the biggest lie she ever told. Right, let's get moving. She made for the door with a spring in her step. We left the room and Grimswell behind. Why did he throw away the book if he was just going to read it? We left the room and took left down the corridor. We followed it for a while before coming to an intersection. Right was to the left directly, completely shadowed. We followed the door. Followed the corridor for a while before coming to a small door. You know what? For that, something smells good. Kid whispered to the air. We went inside. We opened the door. Blimey, this is a small kitchen. Must be for the servants, commented McGill. I scanned our surroundings. A basin of washing dishes, cooking utensils, some food made ready for tomorrow, and a mousetrap. It looks like any other commoner's kitchen. King walked over a large pot filled with food inside and looked. Looks like tomorrow's lunch. Want to try some, Serge? I respectfully declined. We made excuse her, politely declined. Kid clicked her tongue in disappointment. Alright, you want some mag? No. Oh, fine, if you're afraid to try it, I ain't touching it either, she said, turning her back to the pot. Suddenly her voice right. You there, the young man with the braid. Kid froze. Oi, who you calling a bloke? Kid barked angrily in the direction the voice was coming from. A mouse was looking at us with eyes like saucers from the inside of the mousetrap hanging on the wall in the corner of the room. Oh, I'm sorry. You're a young lady, I see. The mouse bowed its head in apology. Please, kind young lady, you must let me hear me out. The mouse puts his paw together and started pleading to the kid. I left the nest to find food for my mother, but as you can see, I managed to get myself caught in a trap. If you leave me here, I will surely be eaten by goblins. Kid eyed the little creature suspiciously. Beg your pardon, please free me from this trap. My mother is sick, and she'll be terribly worried about what has become of me. The mouse is clearly begging for its life, but there is something odd about the glint in its eye. Kid shrugged aside. Fine, I guess we can't just leave you to rot. Hold still and get you out of there. She lifted the trap onto the floor and opened the door, and the mouse bounded happily out from inside. The mouse gave a wicked chuckle. You poor naive fool. Suddenly his body began to balloon massively in size. And it's a trap! Bucker me, a griffin, an enormous creature stared balefully down at us. Idiot humans. My mother's sick, but yours will be when she sees what I've done to you. You dirty little swine, after all I've done for you. Kid's face was red with anger. The griffin gave an almighty cry, and I leapt right at us. The razor-sharp talons sliced in the air, raking down toward me. I ducked and dodged the attack. Caught off guard, I tried my best to dodge the attack, but the blow never came. But the griffin suddenly lost its balance and came crashing to the ground. Oh, bother, I'm too hungry to even fight properly. What on earth? I breathed a sigh of relief, running a hand down my chest. Oh my. Alright, little mouse. Now it's time for the real show to begin. Kid walked up to the griffin, cracking her knuckles. Gulp. Please, kindly young lady, this is all a misunderstanding, a terrible misunderstanding. Panting, the creature leapt to its feet. You can't kill me, I have useful information. If you let me go, I promise to tell you everything I know. Everything! Yeah, I know how much of a promise the likes of you is worth. Kid took another step toward the griffin, not skipping a beat. Rock, please! Kid kept coming. The griffin kept on shrinking away. Enough! Maggie called for Kid to stop. Let's hear it. Oh, thank you, kind sir. The griffin was beside itself with relief. Spoil my fun, why don't you? Kid grumbled Kid, pouting as she turned away. Listen well, in merciful favor. Right thrace. Oh, I have to write this down. Where's my pen? Right 3, left 2, right 2. Cool. With that, the griffin returned to its mouse-like form and disappeared into a small hole in the wall. Trapped in links of stairs, as if it would be thick enough to get walk into one of his traps. We've walked into so many of his traps already. Kid, are you high? Let's get out of here. We've wasted enough time already. Kid turned on her heel and made for the door. We left the kitchen. Leaving the door behind us, we took her right down the corridor. We followed it before coming to an intersection. Towards the guard room. I guess we turn back. Where are we going? We climb the stairs. We'll take it to the atrium. We continue straight towards the cell. Okay, I'm just like, I couldn't remember where the cell was. We get on the corridor, eventually reaching the other the old, rather sturdy door. Right the key for the creepy old goblin should do the trick. The heavy door grows slightly, swung open. Mouse. Clemmy arose from around her feet, as if crawling blindly through the darkness. This didn't seem like the kind of place anyone in the right mind would visit voluntarily. We pushed the heavy iron door the rest of the way open and stepped into the darkness. There was a row of cells, all locked behind iron bars. 1, 2. Oh, Gulliver. Meghild, Zorada, forgive me, please, please forgive me. We heard a voice from the third cell, whimpering and crying pathetically. I strained my eyes to look inside. Faintly in the darkness, I could see something that looked like a man sitting on the floor. So this was the source of the voice. Oi, you alright, mate? Kid called out to the figure. Forgive me. It's all my fault. It's all my fault. The dragons never deserved this. General, Lady Riddle. Oh, forgive me. I beg of you. The man didn't seem to respond to us at all. He only sat facing the wall, begging for forgiveness. For who knew what? Hello, can you hear me? Asked Kid, trying again. There'll be no getting through to him. His real self will have long since retreated inside the shell that he created, said McGill, cutting her off. Shell? What do you mean? I asked. He has built a shell around the core of his psyche in order to shield himself from the truth. He is running from something terrible. He has seen something, or has been through something, or has done something. And so he's created his own world on the inside as a final refuge, the outside world lost to him forevermore. I looked at McGill in surprise. I detected a hint of an unspoken sadness in his words. Yeah, because he did the exact same thing. And for some reason, he was looking at Kid, watching over her as she stared at a man in the cell. Yeah, I wonder why. Seeming to notice my gaze, McGill turned back to face me, assuming his usual emotionless expression once more. We live in a world of sorrow and foolishness. It's only inevitable that someone would try to escape it. But inside his hard words, his eyes retained a certain softness, his steely gaze giving way to a gentle light. Mouse. Do you understand? I think so. I gave a slightly evasive answer. You seemed confused. I don't blame you. You'll come to understand eventually. Miguel looked at me and Kid. What was that all about, I wondered. We're not going to get much out of him. He's miles away. Let's just leave him and try someplace else. Kid made for the dungeon door. Wait, called McGill. We must find some way to get this old man to speak. What for? I mean, he's speaking already. Just none of it makes sense. What are you after? Some things he said piqued my curiosity. He mentioned the dragoons, and Riddle, too. So, you said the dragoons are ancient history, snapped Kid. Besides, how can we trust anything he says? He's clearly gone off his rocker. She had a point. The old man had long since cut his ties to the real world. What did Miguel expect him to say? I'm missing a beat, Miguel replied. We simply have to bring him back to reality. How are you going to do that? You want me to do a little dance for him? Or something? See, if that gets his motor going? Please don't. No. Please don't do that. The words were out of my mouth before I could stop them. What are you saying? Her eyes narrowed threateningly. You don't think anyone want to see me dance? Is that it? What? No, I completely the opposite. In fact, I actually ignored me. Nah, this should be good. Enlighten me, why don't you? He's right. It won't work. And just like that, Kid's fist was flying toward McGill's face instead of mine. He dodged a blow with ease and carried on as if nothing had happened. We must break through the shell that he has created and drag him back to the real world. In order to do that, we will need some kind of key, something that will reach him even through the barrier he has erected. Yeah, we're gonna have to... Where are we gonna find this key? Said Kid suspiciously. I don't know, came McGill's reply. But there is something in this manner someone in this manner who could tell us. You know what I mean? We're not talking about Riddle, are you? I am, Miguel replied with a nod. Alright, fine. Don't know what the heck you expect her to tell us, though. Kid turned on her heel and made for the door. We left the gibbering old man in the dungeon alone in his sorrow. McGill is Piccolo, I swear. You know, followed Kill and Miguel back out into the corridor. We came across a branching path. The path on the right would lead us to the atrium. Going straight would take us to the stairs. Atrium. The dark corridors, dark cloud we pressed on into the atrium came into view. We arrived back in the atrium. An exit leading the Lynx's and Riddle's room gaped ominously from across the cavernous space. We continue on. Leaving the atrium behind, we immediately found ourselves with a fork in the path. We're going to continue forward. Eventually, we came across the door on the right-hand side. It's Lady Riddle's room, Lynx's daughter. We go inside. Because by this point in time, she's back in here. And we found ourselves in a tidy, welcoming room. The knickknacks and curios dotted around the place seemed to be well loved. The stately desk and cozy-looking bed nearby. Meanwhile, the room's occupant was no stranger to luxury. The room was richly furnished, so I still felt awfully lonely. Is someone there? Came a voice of the young woman. We sank down into the shadows. The one appeared from deeper within the room. She was lightly made up and had a gentle, unthreatening air about her. It was Lynx's daughter. Strange, I'm sure I heard someone. I was at a loss as to what to do for the moment, but before I had time to do much to hold my breath, Kit had already darted over and thrust her knife, stopping the blade only a hair's breadth away from the woman's neck. Where's the frozen flame? Answer me. Her voice came out in a harsh growl. I wrestled to hold Kid back before she hurt the poor woman. Kid, do you really have to do this? Shut your trap, Surge. Riddle couldn't help but giggle as she watched us bickering. What are you laughing at? Kid shot Riddle a harsh look. It's just, you don't seem like thieves at all. You want me to cut you, girl? I'd be surprised if that knife could cut anything. For a moment, I felt the fate imagining Riddle on the floor covered in blood. But then cling, Kid had thrown her knife to the floor, and I saw it was only a letter opener. Hey, didn't think you noticed. Whatever. I'm not here to mess around killing the likes of you anyway. I have no desire for bloodshed either, said Riddle, in a voice that was almost a whisper. I'm not your enemy. In fact, I want to help you. There wasn't a hint of hesitation or deception in her voice. Let me guess. You're trapped in the manor too. Riddle only lowered her eyes sadly in response to Kid's question. The frozen flame should never have been allowed to fall into Lynx's hands. Riddle spoke quietly, but deep emotion clearly underpinned her words. The flame was once the property of an ancient kingdom to the north, who kept it for generations. It is said to have the uncanny power to guide people and change history itself. After the kingdom fell, the flame changed hands countless times until eventually it came into my father's possession. That was before I was born. Some time later, Lynx became aware of the flame's true value and approached my father under false pretense of friendship. And I still suspected what his true intentions were. And then on that horrible day, he destroyed everything. He killed everything. Riddle shook her head, then buried her face in her hands. I don't care about the frozen flame. I don't care about the stupid accursed stone. It means nothing to me. I just want to take it away from Lynx and smash it into pieces right in front of him. And only we can make that happen. Riddle looked up with surprise as McGill spoke. No one else in the world can seize the jewel from Lynx. Riddle stared speechlessly. And then, in a low voice, she whispered, "What can I do to help you?" "There's a survivor of the Arcadia Dragoons in the dungeon who we want to help. And if we're to help him, we need your help," said McGill, taking a step forward. "What? The man is a traitor. It's because of him that Zorada. Please, it's the only way." Riddle turned her back to us and hung her head low. "Oh, ain't she cute? The Chamber of Death. There might be something to bring him back to his senses there. After all, it was there that he chose to abandon his pride, his life." "The Chamber of Death sounds fun. What is it?" asked Kid. "A place of torture. A place of pain and suffering. A place designed by Lynx to crush the spirit and body both." She shivered involuntarily, as if a chill wind had blown through the room. She told us the room was cursed, that the blood and tears shed there was transformed by its evil, warped into an all-consuming envy of the living. Well, that elixir looked like, Marl. Yep, it does. It is a place that feeds on fear and suffering. Pfft. It'll take more than a creepy story to scare off a master thief like me. No, you mustn't rush in there blindly. You will need to take the, Einlanzer with you. It's a sacred sword said to have been forged by an ancient sage, and a sister blade to the Crimson Cursed, Masamune. Masamune ain't cursed, baby! The timeless blessings of the Einlanzer will surely keep you safe from the Chamber of Death's wickedness. It used to be such a sight to see in the hands of Zorada. It danced like the wind, shone like the stars, and struck like lightning. Lost again in the memories of fonder times, Riddle once more bowed her head. "Forgive me, I have little more to tell you." "You told us more than enough. We'll take our leave now," said Miguel, turning and making for the door. "I wish I had the strength to change things like you do," whispered Riddle, biting her lips. Kids hesitated for a moment, seemingly deep in thought. "It ain't about strength. It's about having purpose, something to fight for. I'll be praying for you." Kid shot Riddle a look over her shoulder. "Great. Maybe you can cross your fingers, too." We left the room. I have no idea where this Eisenhower, the passage outside the room, continue left or right. I don't know. Well, I'm at a loss of where to go. Let's go to Lynx's room. We went inside. Left. So this is where you've been hiding, Lynx, yelled Kid as she barged into the room. "What? Is Lynx here?" I followed her, panicking. I look around to see no one else but us. Where is he? Kid was standing there, clearly not in any danger at all. It was a joke, idiot. All the strength drained from my body. Hehehe. Thought I was serious. Idiot chuckled. Kid tried not to laugh too hard. "I bet you wish you were living the easy life rather than traipsing around after me, eh?" Ha ha ha, your face. I ignored her and walked over to the mirror and checked with the red silk cloth. Hi there, sorry about all the noise. The statue of Venus in the mirror giggled back at me. That's quite alright, Serge. What is your desire? Came a husky alto. Not much, just thought I'd check on you since I was here. I wouldn't say such things. Your friends will become envious, she giggled mischievously. You what? Said Kid, her voice completely flat. And why would I be envious? Please, there's no need to be upset. I have a gift for you. Oh, yeah? Well, we might call it that. You see, I thought you might be interested to see what was it like inside the mirror. Wait, you're inviting us into the realm of mirrors? Kid's interest was suddenly piqued. It won't take up much time. Come, kid, step inside. The surface of the mirror rippled like water. Kid reached out with her hand toward the glass, then hesitated. She deliberated for a moment before finally pulling it back. You go first, Serge. You're her favorite. Are you sure? Kid nodded. Filled with excitement, I pressed my hand into the mirror. The surface was like cool water on my fingertips. No, Serge, you mustn't. Suddenly, cracks formed in the glass. I gasped. What's happening? The statue in the mirror was weaving. I wish you weren't so trusting. You forget, I serve links. What? I blurted out. I meant to trap you and your friends. The cracks in the mirror grew bigger, splintering off into more smaller cracks. And that is not all. I foresaw you coming long ago and warned Lynx of it. But why? You were imprisoned here by Lynx, weren't you? Sighed Miguel. The statue of Venus sounded mournfully. He sealed the path of mirrors beyond, preventing me from leaving the manor. Were someone to shatter all the mirrors within the manor walls, I would be doomed. I would vanish, separated from my siblings forever. Eventually, the statue raised its head, but I cannot stand to be at its mercy anymore. The cracks deepened further, the shards of glass began to fall to the floor. Stop, I can't let you do this, I yelled, grabbing the mirror's frame with both hands. This is what I want. Lynx will not suffer me to live after betraying him, said the image in the mirror, looking at me. But why are you trying to help us? What will your final question be, Serge? Something in his voice felt like a trace of the smile. Very well, the truth is, I... But just then, the mirror finally split from top to bottom. The image's lips moving gently, but no words came. I tried to scream, but all I could do was a little more than whimper. I took a shard of glass from the floor and gripped it tightly in my hand. Surge! Behind me, Kid was softly calling my name. I gave a slight nod and slowly turned around. Let's go. And we left the room. I turned to look back one last time, my eyes coming to a rest on the remains of the mirror. I'd never be able to hear their voice again. I turned again and left the room. Well, even started the fighting music. Yep. Corridor stretched out beyond the door. We retraced our steps. We continue on our way. I'm trying to think. Let's go to the atrium. We press on. Oh, we went right towards the stairs going down. We went downstairs. Left to the guard room. We went inside. Oh, hello again. Grunsfeld gives a slight bow. Welcome. I look forward to hearing the tale of your exploits tonight. Instead of sitting around in your arse, waiting to hear other people's work, why don't you get out there and make a couple of your own? His only response was a chuckle of wry amusement. And with that, we left the room. Where is this sword? Alright, let's go towards the stairs. We went inside. Pushed the heavy iron door the rest of the way open and stepped inside the darkness. Rail cells all locked with iron bars. 1, 2. The old man's plight preyed on our mind. Couldn't he see how Sins let us punish himself like that? Come on, let's make it quick. He won't be wanting us hanging around for long. And I, for one, want to stay longer than I have to. Where am I supposed to be going? A scream pierced the darkness, turned my blood to ice. I realized that a pair of crazed blood-red eyes was staring into the depths of my soul. It was a griffin. In a panic, I tried to slip the knife from my belt, but before I could draw my weapon, the griffin spread its powerful wings and swooped toward me with an almighty screech. I was knocked back and sit rolling across the ground. I gasped with pain as the wind knocked out of me. Surge, you okay? Every nerve in my body was screaming. I held back the groans and staggered to my feet. I looked up at the massive griffin in front of me, its hellish red eyes staring down at its beak. It's going to attack. What could I do? Move in close. Almost a reflex, I jumped in close to the griffin's body, but then it lashed out with its talons instead. Ah, the sharp pain ripped through my waist. Clutching my wounded stomach, I did my best to regain my footing and turned to face the griffin again. As the beast spider glared at me, I desperately tightened my grip on my knife. I attacked! I wrenched the grip of my blast and plunged at the griffin's neck with all my might, but it somehow managed to turn its head aside, knocking my hand back at the last minute. Ah, the impact sent me rolling to the floor. I tried desperately to keep the tight grip so I wouldn't lose it. Looking back to my feet and ready myself to attack. As the beast spider glared at me, I desperately tightened my grip on. I tried to defend myself. Keep a safe distance from the griffin. I look over to check the others. Getting some breathing space allowed me a moment to refocus. My wounds didn't feel as bad as I first thought. Oi, Surge! This ain't a spectator sport, shouted Kid. She gracefully dodged the attack. The griffin left herself open, and she quickly moved to land a decisive punch right in the base of its wings. Beast beat its wing awkwardly. She clearly damaged something vital. This was my chance to follow up with a clincher. I crouched down, circling the express, only for the accursed creature to spin around and face me. It was going to attack. What could I do? I ducked. Almost reflex. I ducked the attack. The creature lunged with its razor-sharp beak. Ah, the sharp pain tore through my shoulder. Clutching my wounded shoulder, I rolled away to put some distance between us and turned to face the griffin again. Attacked. Gawk! The griffin's body contorted with agony. Driven mad by rage, the griffin shook its head this way and that. I quickly pulled my knife from its neck and rolled away to put some space between us. I quickly backed to moving and ready myself to attack. It's a beast. Tried to defend myself. Oi, Surge, and I jumped back. The griffin's powerful talons threw their right in front of my stomach. I just managed to avoid a lethal blow. As the beast spider red eyes glared at me, I desperately tightened my grip on the neck. I attack. The beast screamed and contorted with agony. I done it. I landed a blow, and telling one that the griffin stiffened, suddenly becoming completely rigid. Its eyes rolled to the back of its head and fell to the ground in a mighty crash. We did it. We defeated the griffin. I fell to my knees and breathed the heaviest sigh of relief. My word. Woo, I taken a few knocks, but it was alright. A scrape or two wouldn't stop me. Not bad, Sergeant, at all. Didn't know you had it in you. There was some mischievous glint in Kid's eyes that rewarded me with a few rare words of praise. Bruh, I don't know where to go. A piece of me wants to look it up, but a piece of me wants to do it blind, and I just don't know. I guess we go to the region. What up, Moon Shadow? How's it going? I hope your day's gotten better from earlier. The door was dark and clear. We pressed on and soon the entrance atrium came into view. We're just playing some Radical Dreamers. We're back in the atrium. An exit leading the links to the riddles room gaped ominously. We continue on. So we made our way through the silence of the corridor. Something cold landed from a man. It felt. Oh no, more slugs. More slugs. More slugs. I am now at work with a massive rainstorm, wind, and tornado warnings that won't give up until tomorrow morning when I leave. I hope for your safety and, like, want you to be safe and good. I slugs! Charge through them. I send you all the love and affection I can send you. I'm not reading this because I would. Yeah, exactly. What Nixie said. I hope you're keeping safe. I'm not reading this because we've already done it and it's a lot to read. I made a dash for at one side, lunging my dagger, and went through it, tore through the creature's paper-thin skin, but it was like only a flesh wound. Bloody things laughing at us, and it was too, chuckling maniacally the way it made me deeply amused. I raised my knife again to prepare myself for the worst. My eyes met the demons, and it was then that I saw it. There was a twinkle behind them. I couldn't tear my gaze from it. It chuckled and grew to a belly laugh as it peered in the very depths of my soul, and then, just like that, muttered a few words and melted into the shadow. Where seconds before it had towered over us, not a trace of it remained. What was that all about? I would have just disappeared mid-fight. Guess I had somewhere else to be. She gave a shrug, doing her best to feign indifference, but I couldn't shake the sense of unease that had filled me, and peered eerily at the darkness in which the vile creature had disappeared. Wait a second, what's that? There's a leather bag on the ground containing a sparkling gem. Now we're talking. Kid's face lit overjoyed. Nice find, Sherrick. What a beaut. Kid stashed away, leaving me to settle for a compliment. Woo. I'd only taken a few knocks, but I was alright. Scraping 2 wouldn't stop me. Not bad, Sarge. You didn't know you had it in you. With a mischievous grin, Kid's eyes, she rewarded me with few rare words of praise. I guess let's do this. Riddle's room. Let's go inside. Where bathrooms are safer than bigger areas. Doorways, specifically ones underground, is also a good place to hide if it starts getting bad. But I saw the more broken room. Knickknacks and curios that around the place seem to be well loved. Sounds like you're ready for a nap. Moonshadow, it is currently 1:10 in the morning here. So, literally when I get done streaming, I'm up for maybe an hour or two after I get off streaming, and then I go to bed for the night. Because I'm done somewhere between 1:30 and 3:30. And then by the time I go to bed, it's like 3:30 to 5:30. I'm ready for a nap. The stately desk and cozy-looking bed nearby, meanwhile, suggest the room's occupant was no stranger to luxury. That the room was rich with furniture, so I felt awfully lonely. Rita was sitting on the sofa, gazing wistful at something in her hands. It was an old, faded photograph. She noticed us looking at her and gently beckoned us for her to come over. I'm in the same time zone. I didn't get off at work until 7 a.m. That sucks. Is something the matter? She asked, probably gesturing at some seats nearby. Inviting us to Nata. Kid Huff bluntly refusing the offer. You must seek out the island, sir. Without it, you'll never be able to dispose the curse of the Chamber of Death. You don't need to tell me twice, Butter Kid. Riddle's gentle voice frowned. Take care. Kid stopped just before leaving. As she spoke, her back to the lady of the manor. You're not helping us just make some old man suffer any even more, are you? Who put him in the dungeon in the first place and why? Riddle looked away and said nothing. Fine, keep your trap shut if you want. Just remember that we ain't here to do your dirty work. And you can think twice before you mess us about. If you're looking out for me and me, I'm looking out for me and me alone. I know, sighed Riddle. Her whispered reply, vanishing in the night air. We left her to her wordies and returned to the corridor. I am lost. Do I have to go to the treasure room? It's not in Lynx's room. Let's go left. I wish there was a way to save. We'll go upstairs. I guess we go to the right. You know, past the side and past the main corner, we found ourselves those large, somewhere in double doors. We go inside. Kid pushed the heavily open doors, peeked inside, doesn't look like anyone's there. It seemed like the main hall of the manor. There was a massive table, beautiful decorations on the wall, thick columns decorated with sculptures of birds and beasts. Fixed on the walls, in the back towered a tremendous pipe organ like a burnished black mountain. Dozens of candles provided a dim, flickering light, sending the corners of the room dancing in and out of shadows. Several enormous portraits glowered down from on high the wall. Were these members of Lynx's family? I was busy staring at the painting, depending on a young husband and wife, when I realized that their eyes had turned to look right at me. Okay, they hadn't. Don't worry, this isn't about to turn into some dumb ghost story. It just looked that way because of the way the flickering light of the candle reflected against the glossy oil paints, obviously. Probably. This place gives me the creeps. I get a load of all these ugly mugs. There ain't nothing for us here. Let's go look somewhere else. Neither Miguel nor I. Any objections? We left the corridor. Where am I supposed to be going? I don't recall a sword being anywhere. This goes back to the study. I guess we go back here. We headed down the side passage. Hydrate. I will hydrate. Thank you very much, Moon Shadow. I'm as lost as you. I know, Nixie. We headed down the side passage. At the end of it, we came to an old, immaculate, polished door. This was the study. We go inside. Nope. Immediately leave. After a short walk down the corridor, the terrace came into view. Keep following the corridor. A short way along the corridor, on the right hand side of the terrace, we found an ancient-looking door. Again on our right. Let us continue on. No, we open the door. In we go. Kid stilled her breath and reached for the handle. The door wasn't locked. It swung slowly open. The room was completely silent. There was no sign of life. There it is. Our ticket of not getting turned into mincemeat. The ancient sword was right where Kid had left it after pulling it out of the pile of junk. She ran over to where it lay. Looking down at the sword, Miguel muttered, 2 ancient blades. The sacred Einlancer and the cursed Masamune. What are you on about, Mag? You know something about the Master Mune? Miguel said nothing. Well, it seems to me something to... It seems to me it does. Something to do with old friends I don't know about. Not exactly. An enemy then? Not exactly. Where's the gear room? Yeah, I completely forgot about the ancient sword of the gear room until I walked in the gear room. You're being weird, Mag. Well, whatever. Oi, no, grab this thing for me, will you? I was still standing by the doorway when Kid called over to me. Who, me? Yeah, you. Or were you gonna get me to lug the bloody thing around for you? It's just a scrawny little girl, ain't I? Call yourself a gentleman. My jaw dropped. I knew there wasn't anything I could say to her. Sadly, I walked over to Kid and picked up the sword like I was told. Whoa! I nearly fell over. The thing was heavy. Good boy. Right off to the chamber. Right off to the chamber of death. Eyes on the prize, lad. Dragging the sword behind me, I followed Kid out of the room. We go right. Came across a rather steady looking door. A little further on to the doorway leading upward. We continue on. We go up the stairs. We watch the footing carefully. An old sturdy looking door loomed in the top of the darkness. We went inside. And alright, here it goes. It's a little kid heavily swung open, revealed what lay beyond. It was a small cylindrical room that appeared to be inside of one of the stone towers. It was completely deserted. There were no windows. What's this supposed to be? Something about this place gives me the creeps. Standing in the doorway, kids seemed suddenly taken aback. Bearing that in mind, what Riddle told us the room was called, it definitely wasn't somewhere we wanted to linger. What were we looking for, though? What could bring an old man? What could the old man have left in this room that could help him bring him back to reality? Flagstones were covered in dozens of narrow scratches in places. There were thick black stains. Something in the stains spoke of horror that no amount of scrubbing would ever wash away. A malice and a sadness beyond imagining. There's something written here. Crouching in front of the wall, Miguel was expecting some brownish markings that looked like more of the same stains. Someone carved letters into the wall and scrambled them using blood magic. Kid must have gone over to take a look. Looks pretty old, hard to read. Some of it's been worn away. Let's see. I cannot hold out much longer. My only hope now is to leave the Ossian stagnant in this room. The Ossian stagnant. Suddenly, door slammed shut. We jumped to our feet with a start. From above us, we heard an unsettling creaking sound. The walls and floors were beginning to tremble. What the hell's going on? Kid eyes darted around, desperately trying to find out what was happening. The creaking sound from above continued, and the ceiling moved ominously closer. Up there! Oh, no. Don't look now, but I reckon we're about to find out why this is called the Chamber of Death. We have to stop it. If we don't deal with the trap, we'll never find out what we're looking for. Ceiling sank lower and lower. We ducked our heads, desperately trying to avoid the blades that were jutting from the bottom. Kid looked at me and screamed, "The sword! Use the Iron Lancer!" What? How do you use a sword? I plunged the sword into Kid. What was I gonna do? Surge! Kid shrieked, wringing my ears, and then shrunk. The edge of one of the sitting blades sliced my forehead. There was no time. What was I gonna do? Plunge it into the ceiling. Alright, let's see if the legend door can smash to the ceiling. Down the outlet with all my clang. It pinged hard off the countless blades, flashing from it, throwing me to the floor. Ow! Hands over. I slightly regained my. I plunged it into the ground. There, I drove the sword into the ground with all my might. A shock ran through the room. Beams of light scattered from the blades, covering the floor of the walls and racing upward. The ceiling gave an almighty judder, then stopped. We made it. I sank to the floor helplessly, my heart racing. Hey, what's that? Kid was pointing at a part of the wall. It was where we see them written. Guess we found what we were looking for. Part of the wall collapsed, revealing a cavity behind what looked like a piece of solid stone. So I could see something glittering faintly in the dark. The kids reached with their finger, carefully extracting what was within the wall. It was a slender ring with a delicately engraved design that looked like overlapping ferns. The ring was adorned with several small rubies and a pattern that resembled a bunch of grapes. The crest of Ossian? This must be the Ossian signet. Kid put the ring in the middle, on her middle finger, where it sat uneasily. It didn't seem to be her size. The rubies gave off an eerie glint. Right, let's not spend any more time here than we have to. We managed to foil the trap and retrieve the Ossian signet. I left the eyelids where it stood, and we exited the room. Kid in the lead, we headed downstairs. Went downstairs to Kitty's shirt. Eventually, we came to a sturdy-looking door on our right. We continue on. We continue on. Follow the fort. We keep following the corridor. More slugs. I hate the slugs. We're gonna charge through them. I love how it's like a speed run right here. Again, I'd read this out, but we've already done this like 3 times now. Get slugged. I hate the slugs and the slugs hate me. You're not wrong. Throw myself to one side. But I must telegraph my mood. The blade changed course at the last moment and sliced right into my shoulder. Sorry, the pain was intense, but when I glanced at the wound, I could see it wasn't as bad as it felt. What is this thing? Some kind of demon? If it is, look out! Demons love messing with people's heads. As soon as she said that, the writhing mass of slugs disappeared into thin air. Demon ready to slug again. Changed torches. What do? I went in for with my knife. I made a dash for one side, lifting my dagger as I went. It tore through the creature's paper-thin skin. But it was only a flesh wound. The bloody thing's laughing at us. And it was, too, cackling maniacally and made it deep and uneasy. I raised my knife again, prepared for the worst. My eyes met the demons, and it was then that I saw that there was a twinkle behind them. I couldn't tear my gaze from it. It grew into a belly laugh as I peered from the depths of my soul, and then just like that, it had muttered a few words and melted into the shadows. Where all seconds before, the tower over, now was trace had remained. What was that all about? Why would it just disappear? But guess I had somewhere else to be. Kid, it gave a shrug and did our best to feign ignorance, but I couldn't make a sense of unease in the film. It appeared uneasy into the darkness in which the vile creature had disappeared. I was starting to feel a little worse for wear. I was going to be more careful from now on. This is going to end badly. Maybe you ain't such a dark after all. Just to show you, any weirdo can make something of themselves and put their mind to it. Kid's eyes glinted with mischief. We took the corner leading to the left-hand side of the terrace. Eventually, I'm going to die before I finish this game, and I'm going to be upset. We go down the stairs. We went towards the atrium. We continue on. We went to the atrium, come down the corridor before finding a fork in the road. Select to the left and right. We go left towards the dungeon. Reaching our old, rather sturdy-looking door. We went inside. Having retrieved the Aussie insignia, returned to the old man's cell. As soon as we got there, McGill took a step forward and grabbed onto the bars. They creaked and groaned as he heaved at them, gritting his teeth as he summoned every ounce of his might. Slowly, they bowed apart. He stepped into the cell through the gap, and Kid and I followed. The old man was exactly where we had left him, staring into space, muttering meaningless words. Kid walked over to him and crouched down. She grabbed him by the collar and yelled at him, "Wakey, wakey, Granddad!" I'm keeping up with you, Vega. You're doing great from what I can tell. I mean, I don't know about that. I feel like I'm doing okay. We got a few questions for you. Here, get an eye full of this. Ring any bells? Some kid waved the Aussie insignia in his face, shaking him roughly all the while. The old man's hand lolled as he limply allowed himself to be manhandled. I stepped between him and tried to stop her. Trying to get between Kid and the old man, she glared at me. You're in the way, Serge. We're here for answers, remember? But if you really want to help him, you can't check it out now. But look at him. There's no helping him anymore. Surely this all ended for him long ago. I would not be so certain. This is not over. It still means something. He simply decided to pretend not to see him. Yeah, but it's not over, you say. Struck by the man's sudden interruption, we all turned to look at him. Faint glimmer of light had returned to the once vacant eyes. That's right. None of this is over until we make Lynx pay. His eyes began to cloud over once more. So my former allies have finally come for me. I am to blame. It is because of my indiscretions that the frozen flame was stolen, and that all of the Asian dragoons, only I remain here in the manor. But now all is well, for you have returned. Oh, Melgid, Zorda, Where have you been all this time? Did you all return to Lake Stoic? Never mind all that, Granddad. Where's the frozen flame? Give us a clue, anything. Come on, out with it. Couldn't decide if kid sounded more annoyed or more desperate. The frozen flame. The old man looked momentarily confused, and then a wan smile across his face. My word, Lady Riddell, it's been far too long since I had the pleasure. Why, you only need to turn the third candlestick from the left as you enter the main hall. That will open the underground vault, as you know. Kid wrapped her arms around the old man and held him tight, and then in a trembling voice she whispered, I'm sorry. I promise we'll get it back. God! The man recoiled in horror and then began to sob once more. I am to blame, and it's my fault. Forgive me, forgive me. Look, if you want to get out of here, now's your chance. But it was no use. He was too busy cowering and wailing to hear me. We're done, Serge. We can't help him, and there's things we need to do. Thank you, I switched to the old man before following Kid and Miguel out of the dungeon. And we're making our way down the dark corridor. We came to a branch of the path. The path red light related to the atrium of the fountain. We go right. The corridor was dark and clammy. We pressed on until the entrance to the atrium came into view. We arrive at an exit leading to... We continue on. The atrium is concerning, in my opinion. Fork of the path. Right would lead us upstairs. We take the path to the right. Passageway was short. Leading the way, we started to climb the narrow staircase. At the top, we found another intersection. Taking the corridor to the right would lead us to the dead end with a large door, while the left would lead us to the terrace. There are patches over the side. Take a corridor to the right towards the main hall. We continue on and past where the stairs and the side passage emerged into the main corridor. We found ourselves with the ornate double doors. This was the main hall of the manor. We go inside. Kid pushed the heavy door open quietly and peered inside. Looked like the coast is clear. We stepped into the main hall. Dozens of candles provided a dim, flickering light, setting the corners of the room dancing out of the shadow. The hall was filled with a heavy silence, a silence unbroken, save for the ticking of a large clock that slowly counted the passage of time as it waited for something. Several portraits glared down with cold eyes. We moved through the feeble glows of the candlelight. Third candlestick from the left, whispered Kid. 1, 2, 3. There. She reached out towards it. I held my breath as I watched. Say your prayers, Lynx. We're coming for you. Kid turned the candlestick. The room trembled with a somewhat rhythmic rumbling sound, as if a massive gear was turning. What's that? For a moment, I felt a strange sensation, as if I was floating. Do you feel that? I started to sag, and the entire room seemed to have to move downward. Came the reply from Miguel. I couldn't quite believe it, but I also couldn't deny the feeling of downward motion. The main hall was sinking into the earth. And then another rumble. The room rapidly accelerated. A cold sweat dripped from my back. My heart filled with a mixture of fear and anticipation. What was waiting for us down there? The frozen flame, our prize at the end of the little venture? But what was it really? Would it live up to our expectation? I tightened my fists, which were slick with sweat. What were Kid and McGill thinking? The room remained veiled in silence. As in response to my thoughts, a quiet voice came from me next to me. Sometimes it was Kid. I looked over and see her standing stiffly, staring forward with her hands clenched into fists. Sometimes I feel like I'm stuck in a losing battle, a fight I'll never win, no matter what I do. It was a side of her I'd never witnessed before. Even from this angle, I could see fear and doubt flickering across her face. I felt a tender sting in my heart. We will win, I promise. There's nothing to worry about. We'll win in the end, I promise. Hey, Drongo. She gave me a gentle smile. Can't promise anything in this world, Serge. There's no guarantees. But thanks anyway. She grinned again, seeming a little embarrassed, then looked me straight in the eyes. And then I had a strange sensation. This was a kid. Or not the only kid anyway. I was overwhelmed by the inexplicable oddness of the idea. She noticed immediately, of course, and our little moment was over. The kid I knew was back in the room. Trying to catch flies, mate? Sorry. It was just for that moment there. It felt like you were someone else. What are you on about? Kid gave me a confused look, tilting her head. It must be because we're drawing near the frozen flame. Miguel's voice said, as soft as ever, slipped unbidden from the shadows. What the heck are you two on about? Kid turned toward him with another puzzled frown. There is another self within you, struggling against the pull of the abyss. But what had she been talking about? Thank you for the big stretch. I will do that just now. And then coffin dance. Nice. A crash split the silence as if we collided with something. Screech! A loud metallic scraping filled the air. The room rocked and finally came to a halt. Looks like the end of the line. All change. The swelling grandeur of the organ suddenly filled the air. No one had so much as touched it, and yet the keys and the pedals were moving by themselves. The melody it played was both unsettling and sad. Funeral tune, is it? Way to greet your guest. Kid took a long stride forward, then turned to face me and Miguel. Come on, let's go. Me and Miguel gently nodded our assent. Kid grinned, then turned back to the door. I'm coming for you, Lynx. This is the end for you. And with that, she led us from the hall. We continued down a long, dark corridor, the walls slick with condensation. The air was thick and heavy, as though ripe with the stench of death. Were we really getting close to Link's hidden vault at last? And was there any turning back now, for any of us? There was something strange about Kid that night. Miguel didn't seem to be his usual self either. To begin with, it was vanishingly rare for him to speak so much, let alone to show any kind of emotion. What happened to make them change like that? Unable to take the silence anymore, I decided to speak. I had to ask the question that had been on my mind all this time. What is the frozen flame? Is the frozen flame really a jewel? There is only silence in return, and then when it seemed like no one would reply at all, Miguel spoke. His low voice echoed in the corridor. It is the sacred stone that cures all ills, heals all wounds, and grants eternal life. Or so some believe. In truth, it is part of a tremendous rock that fell from the skies long, long ago. Why is Lavos here? Anyway, that rock was the source of a hitherto unknown power, with which mankind's hidden potential was unlocked. You could say it was humanity's dream made manifest. But it was not always good to have one's dreams come true. Many were bewitched by that great power. Some were led astray by it. It even led to a kingdom's ruin, a kingdom once prosperous, yet now little more than fragments of dust. Its name lost to history. Antiquity! He's talking about the age of antiquity! For a moment, I thought I heard a hint of pain and sadness in Miguel's voice. But maybe it was just my nerves. Wait, how do you know all this, Miguel? He said nothing. He only stared at me with his piercing dark eyes, and then continued onward in silence. For a while, only the sound of footsteps echoed in the corridor, and then Kid gave a doubtful humph. Look, I don't know if all that stuff about the frozen flame is true or not. Elden Ring? So I need more RAM before I can play Elden Ring, Moonshadow. I have, what's the word I'm looking for? I have RAM listed on my throne for, what's the word? I have, so that, like, if I can't buy it at some point before somebody else and somebody is generous enough to give it to me, then, you know, I will eventually play Elden Ring. But I will eventually play Elden Ring, either when I get RAM or need more Elden Ring. Exactly, I do need more Elden Ring. I'm pushing the limitations of minimum requirements, and it shows. like, I have enemies, like, that take forever to load in and stuff like that, and it just wouldn't, in my opinion, be a fun experience. So, I will play Elden Ring probably within the next 6 months is when I'll probably have enough, either when I'll have enough money for RAM by that point in time and have it installed probably within the next 6 months, or unless somebody buys it for me. But anyway, back to the game. She raised her fist. We're here to settle the score with Lynx by nicking the thing. That's all I know, and that's all I want to know. What had Lynx seen in the frozen flame? Why had it been worth risking so much? We trudged on down the dark passageway, each of us alone with our thoughts, concentrating on my footsteps, lessened the burden of my worries somewhat, and I felt renewed vigor to a degree. Suddenly, McGill stopped with in his tracks. Wait. Huh? Kid turned around, puzzled. Just then, a powerful light surged across the floor, and a ring-shaped sigil appeared. Damn it, a blood circle! Kid and McGill were at least quick enough to try and jump clear, but they weren't quite quick enough, and the three of us were trapped in the circle of blinding light. The sigil rotated left and right, with with us at the center, cutting off all routes of escape. Gah, we're trapped! A wall of heat and wind blew up around us. The swirling lines and spirals of light assailed us wherever we turned. Don't let the light mesmerize you. Cover your eyes, shouted McGill, raising a hand over his mask. Turn with the light, not against it. There has to be a way out. What? I barely understand what's going on. Kid's elbow brushed against the wall of light surrounding us, sending sparks. Ugh. Be careful. Merely to touch it more than enough to harm you. Stay back. Merely to touch it is more than enough to harm you. Stay back. I slowly turned my bottle to follow the movements of the ring of light, looking for a gap to escape through. Where's my notes? I turn right 3 times. 3 steps to the right. There, I see it. That's our way out, through. I find a gap in the wall of light. Carefully walk through it. Kid, Miguel, this way. We managed to get through the barrier unscathed. We weren't out of the woods yet. There was still yet another wall of light swirling with great wind in front of us. I slowly turned my bottle to follow the movements of the ring of light. Look for a gap to escape through. I turn left twice. 2 steps to the left. There, I see it. That's our way through. I find a gap in the wall of light and carefully walk through it. Kid, McGill, this way. I keep pronouncing it Miguel, but it's McGill. We managed to get through the barrier unscathed, but we weren't out of the woods yet. There was still another wall of light swirling ahead with a great front of us. Slowly turn my body to follow the movements of the ring of light, looking through the gap you don't have to escape through. I turn right twice. 2 steps to the right. There, I see it. That's our way through. Found a gap in the wall and carefully walked through it. Kid, McGill, this way. This is why you explore everywhere. Suddenly, my body felt light, and I staggered 2 or 3 steps forward. We were back in the deserted passageway we'd been walking down before the blood circle had appeared. The signal had vanished from the floor, and everything was silent, as if nothing had ever been amiss. And then I looked up. Looks like we finally made it, boys. Kid strolled up to the door with a wicked grin on her face. The true frozen flame awaits. Nicely done. McGill's eyes gave a glint from behind his mask, like glass catching moonlight in the darkness of night. Let's go. Kid reached for the handle. So this is the place, huh? Kid narrowed her eyes, straining to see our surroundings in the darkness. A vast pitch-black expanse surrounded us which way we looked. It's as if we had entered an impossibly vast cave. We were in a place forgotten by time, unknown to the world, hidden deep within the bowels of night. A gentle crimson light hovered in the darkness. The frozen flame. Alright, now it's ours. The light of the flame ebbed and waned gently, as if responding to Kid's voice. What the heck is this place? There's mountains of bloody rubble everywhere. Miguel took a step further into the room and said it in a whisper that was almost a groan. No. It can't be. Ah, but it is. The ruins of the lost kingdom of mages. The voice drifted down through the darkness from above. Kid looked up in shock. Lynx! I'll click your flea-bitten arse so hard you'll kiss the moon. Kid pulled her knife from her belt and threw it as hard as she could. It fell to the floor with a clang, as if knocked out of the air by some unseen hand. Still the same impetuous child as ever, I see. That's no way to greet an old friend. Schmarmy bastard, Kit gritted her teeth with rage. And you, shadow dweller, I'll have none of your tricks this time. You must think me a fool if you believe I'll fall for that again. Miguel had been quietly slipping into the darkness that surrounded us, stopped dead in his tracks. So this was the infamous Lynx. That drawing of him, though. The lord of this deadly manor. The man who had murdered the closest thing Kid had to a family, who had assassinated General Viper, and eradicated the order of the Ossian Dragoons. A pleasure as always, my dear Kid, and I must say, you followed the trail of breadcrumbs I laid for you admirably, closely, my greedy little sneak thief. What the bloody, she stepped forward bristling. Link stared at his eyes as his lip twisted into a snarl. You know what I want, Kid. Give me the stone you carry. The stone? Did Kid have some kind of jewel I didn't know about? Don't know what you're on about, mate. She just about managed to recover her composure, narrowing her eyes scornfully at her old foe. Spare me the act, child. I know that you haven't. I know she gave it to you. Hand over the time egg. Now. The... what? Whatever it was, I never heard of it. You're dreaming if you think I'll give it to the likes of you, Kid shot back. It's all I have left of her. I'll never let go of it. Not for anyone, and definitely not for you. I'll tell you what's gonna happen, you bastard. First, I'm gonna take the frozen flame, and then I'm gonna ram it down your throat. Incorrigible young fool. I was hoping this might be a civilized exchange. Alas, it seems my words will only fall on deaf ears, and you are determined to repeat your past errors. Link moved his hand to grip the ornate gold saber that hung from his belt. Last time, I showed you mercy and let you leave with your life. That was a mistake, one which I mean to correct. Serge, McGill, stay back. Kid took a step forward, glaring at Lynx, her gaze unflinching. This ends here and now. You'll pay for what you've done. You'll pay for what you did to Luca! With a scream, Kid leapt into the air like a bird taking flight. Her foot lashed out like a scything kick aimed right at the side of Link's head. But there was no contact where Lynx had been mere moments before. Now there was empty space. Kid landed immediately and launched herself back into the air, putting the full force of her momentum into another kick. This time Lynx leaned back, letting Kid's foot swing past only a hair's breadth from his nose. And then it was Lynx's turn. He lashed out with his saber, carving an arc through the air in front of him. Kid was ready for him, however, and he had already jumped back to a safe distance. The two glared at each other from mere footsteps apart. At least you had the decency to prepare a little better than last time, Lynx purred. A red line appeared on Kid's cheek, slowly coalescing into a drop of blood. Kid. In a flash, he launched himself into yet another attack. Lynx dodged to the side, then made to strike her with the hilt of his saber. Kid moved awkwardly to avoid the attack, losing her footing, and then Lynx was about on her like a bird of prey before she could fully recover. There was a gasp and a cough as Lynx drove his knee into the pit of her stomach. The Kid collapsed. A steady stream of red dripped from her lips. Will that be all, girl? Lynx gave Kid a merciless kick to the side, sending her flying. She landed on a pile of rubble, her body rolling until she hit a large stone pillar, and there she lay, lifelessly still. Kid! Kid! I screamed her name as I charged toward Lynx. But McGill was there already. He flew through the darkness as part of the shadows before crashing down on Lynx like a bolt from the blue. Lynx jumped back and countless threads of light flew from his fingertips towards McGill. With a droning hum, the lights of threads surrounded McGill, crossing over one another. They spread to form a lattice of light that gave off a blinding glare and trapped McGill where he stood. What is this? McGill staggered and groaned, attempting to shield his eyes with his hands. It's a simple enough spell, my shadowy friend, for those inclined to learn it, and one which, sadly for you, leaves no darkness in which to hide. Lynx leered at McGill with a venomous grin. You've been quite a thorn in my side. I'll let you live long enough to regret it. McGill struggled and groaned. I had to do something. Kid and McGill needed me, but what was I going to do? Lynx, apparently, I chose a challenge Lynx. I forget these things are timed, because in most, like, visual novel-like stuff, they aren't. So it's a nice touch, but at the same time, Lynx had started making his way towards Kid while I was paralyzed with indecision. What's the matter, Kid? You're so bold only a moment ago. Aren't you going to keep me entertained? Lynx looked down his nose at Kid's broken body. Now, do you want to give me the time egg? We can still be civilized about this. I am, of course, a gentleman, and it pains me to have to seize a fair maiden's valuables by force. Even if the fair maiden in question is in fact a filthy street rat. He pressed his foot in the kid's head. I could hear her voice, faint and breathless. It's Lucas' stone, not yours. I'll never give it to anyone, and no way will I give it to the likes of you. Couldn't let him get any closer to her. But what was I gonna do? I challenged Lynx. I charged Lynx. I screamed as I rushed towards Kim's nemesis, and then in one fluid motion, he spun around to face me, lashing out with his saber. I tried my best to dodge the blow, but the blade sliced into my body. Ugh! I collapsed in the heap and rolled onto the rubble. You aren't the first arrogant little street rat I cut down, and you won't be the last. His claw-like fingers clamped down on my throat. I couldn't breathe. Tightening his grip, Lynx lifted my body until my feet were dangling in the air. I could feel his talons mercilessly digging deeper into my neck. Panic filled my mind. Look, Kid. See your friend? See him suffer? This is your doing. This is your hand around his neck. Kid breathing was ragged, and blood still dripped from her lips. Opening an eye, she groggily raised her head. But she couldn't get up. She didn't have the strength. Surge! Give me the time egg. Do you even know what it is? I suspect not. Think of it as a concentrated pocket of space. With a frozen flame and the time egg in hand, one could bend the fabric of space-time and rewrite the past. There are no errors that I mean to correct. Mistakes in the past that must be set right. Oh, my bad. There are errors that I mean to correct. Dead. Yeah, pretty much. Link's narrowed, emotionless eyes returned to my face. How long before he perishes, I wonder? I struggled to breathe, but I could only make choking sounds. Kid screamed my name. Decide. Will you watch the boy die or relent? Does his life mean nothing to you? I can't. She balled her hand into a fist and dropped her gaze. My vision started to fade. And then I heard her voice and struggled to speak through the pain. I'm sorry, Serge, but I swore. I swore I'd sacrifice anything to strike Lynx. Don't worry about me. It was all I could do to force the words out past Lynx's icy grip. I was struggling. I was starting to block out. Was this really how it was going to end? Did I just get the bad ending? Ah, for crying out loud, fine, you win. Here, have your damn rock. Lynx's grip on my throat loosened. Grunting with pain, Kid reached a shaky hand under his shirt. I knew you would come around in the end. Lynx threw my body to the ground and then walked over toward her. Just shut up and take it, you bastard. It's all you deserve. And with all the strength she could muster, Kid lashed out at Lynx with her right hand. Gah! He leapt back in a desperate attempt to evade the blow. But it was too late. Kid's nails, sharp as cat claws, raked mercilessly into his face. Lynx roared with pain. She staggered, clutching his left eye. He staggered, clutching his left eye. Blood oozed through the gaps in his fingers. You wretched little shit of a girl. Lynx stood awkwardly, still clutching at his wound on his face. The fingers of his free hand arched into furious talons as he walked towards Kid, who still lay on the ground. I will kill you all. He kicked her hard, concentrating all of his wrath and venom into the blow. Kid gasped as all the wind was knocked out of her, yet more blood ran out of her mouth as her body rolled across the floor. Kid! I yelled hoarsely, clutching my burning throat with one hand. Lynx turned his head slowly to look at me, one eye fixing on me coldly as it came into view. He took a step toward me. Yes, perhaps it would be better to start with you, my dear Kid. Rest assured that your friend's death will be the most elaborate and painful one. You will truly know what it means to suffer, boy. I will put you through the same suffering as I did that Luca woman. Kid's body started with shock and horror. Her eyes slowly opened, fixing on Link. There were wild eyes, strained with blood that poured from her brow. Gritting her teeth, she staggered to her feet. Lynx! Lynx! And then there was an explosion of light burst forth from the frozen flame. Another light began to form somewhere near Kid's chest, resonating with the light from the frozen flame. The twin lights intertwined, twirling slowly. He's going to stab you with his Q-tips. Twirling slowly upward. And as it rose, the golden spiral appeared. The golden spiral spread. No, this can't be. Link stood motionlessly, transfixed by the spectacle. Was this the Time Egg's power? Kid screamed as the raging blaze of light engulfed her. I'll never let you do it again. I'll never let you steal from me again. Bathed in the glow, her body shook. Blood-red tears dripped from her eyes as they took on a distant look. And then she collapsed to the ground as if all life had gone out of her. I heard a voice. It was quiet and still like the evening. It has come to pass. Kid is retracing her lost memories back through time. Back to the Lost Kingdom. It was through her power that the kingdom fell. That it was swallowed in an all-encompassing vortex of time. In her grief, she wished to disappear. Her past, her future, she wanted it all to sink into the void, to be lost into the seething whirl of time. She despised what she had done. She closed herself off from all that she saw and heard, and cursed her very existence. But the stone wished for her to live. The hands of her clock were rewound, her memories unraveled. The stone gave her a chance to begin again. The stone had both the power and the will to bring all of this about. Sinking through the sea of time, she drifted. Here, a mere babe, her memories a blank slate. The time egg shattered into fragments, raining down on the world, becoming shards of sorrow and anguish. The world around us drifted into pieces. It swallowed us, engulfed us. We were consumed, locked into the void. And then, a girl screamed, echoed into the darkness. The voice was that kid. It sounded just like... No, this is all wrong. The black vortex, it surrounds us. No, stop! Where am I? I have lost everything, and now I can what is void? Yeah. I have lost everything, and now I can but wonder. The world drifts, and time is a blur. There is only an endless, unknowable sea. This is where time begins and ends. This is where all life finds peace. Is it a womb? Yeah, it is a womb. I see myself as a baby, crying next to my mother, an exhausted yet proud look upon her face. I see myself aged and wizened, waiting to succumb to death's embrace with a smile. I see countless incarnations of myself, walking time's intricate corridors as ghosts. This is a place where countless worlds overlap, and infinite dreams play out. Trees! If only I could rest here for eternity. If only I could be free of all the burdens and sleep here in the sea of dreams. But I hear it calling me. I hear this song. Kid. Kid, please. Can you hear me? Kid. Kid, say something. Kid, you've got to stay with me. Who's that? Who is calling me? Surge? Where, where am I? Kid, kid, you're awake. I heard a song. It was beautiful. It was that song that Luca loved. Kid closed her eyes and her face glowed with a warm smile. I'll never forget that song. Makes me want to cry whenever I hear it. I'm just glad you're back. It felt like I was losing you, like you were going somewhere far, far away. Before I knew it, I was humming the song for you. I don't know if I ever mentioned it, but I wrote it when I was first started out as a musician. I knew you liked it, so Kid gave a gentle nod. It was you. You were the one who called me back. That was you calling my name. Calling me name. Thanks, Serge. It's okay. It's okay now. I'm back. Suddenly she gasped with pain. Link's saber had plunged deep into her right shoulder. And towering over us was Lynx himself. Guys, there's still a fight going on. I told you, Kid. I told you I would kill you. She had no strength left to fight. What was I going to do? I tried to protect Kid. I threw myself over Kid's innate throne. I had to protect her. Ha! You rushed needlessly to your grave, boy. Lynx glared coldly at me with his remaining eye. Alas, your time has come. He raised his saber high, preparing to strike. Enough. Stunned, we looked towards the intruder. You. There stood an old crone, her wizened features obscured by a heavy hood. How had she made it all the way down here? Lady Vera. And Lady Vera. And what have we done to bring poor Aire's magistrate? General running, I wonder, he growled. It's been far too long, Lord Lynx. A pity that I seem not to have caught you at your best. The crowd met Lynx's mad stare head on. I will take the frozen flame. After all, it seems you two have been quite unable to decide which of you should have it. She raised a hand and armed soldiers poured into the room. Miguel lifted Kid to her feet. This seems a good time to leave. Lynx snarled, "You'll regret this, witch." He kicked off from the floor. His body rose into the air. Then he turned his venomous glare on us. And you, Kid, you'll pay with this for this with your life soon enough. And you'll never be safe from me. And with that, he disappeared like a puff of smoke. The crowd lingered for a moment, her eyes resting on us. Kid, if you wish to try and steal the frozen flame again, you're welcome to try anytime you please. We'll be waiting. But you'll have to get out of here alive first. The soldiers drew their weapons and fell upon us. Darkness, heed my call. With Kid slumped against him, Miguel spread his arms and drew a signal in the air. Hurry, Serge. This way. I grabbed onto him and we plunged into blackness. Thanks to Miguel's magic, we managed to escape the manor alive, but the lights of torches down to the forest so we could hear soldiers calling to one another. We stopped briefly in the darkness of the woods. The Kid leaned heavily on a tree, desperately trying to quiet her ragged breathing. It was a terrible wound she'd suffered, and it seemed to be taking its toll. Are you okay, Kid? Yeah, don't worry about me, mate. Give me 1 second. We're gonna ban the bot. Mouse. We're surrounded. It won't be long before they find us, said McGill, his eyes cautiously scanning the area. Kid raised her head to look at me. It's me and McGill they want. Get out of here, Serge. It's us they want, not you. What are you saying? I'm not leaving you here. Look at you. You can barely stand. Thanks for the hydrate and the stretch, Ray. I will do them now. Where's my drink? It's nothing I can't handle. Besides, I've got McGill with me. If they catch you with us, they won't go easy on you. But I remembered everything. I remembered another me, a me from a long time ago. Slowly, Clyd averted her gaze, looking up in the night sky. I have to go. The stars reflected in her eyes, and suddenly she looked like nothing more than an ordinary young girl with a sad, distant expression on her face. Kid. Don't worry, Serge. I'm okay. We'll meet again. Kid smiled. We'll meet again, somewhere, someday, sometime. Promise. Her eyes closed gently. I didn't manage to nick the frozen flame in the end, and I lost the time egg too. The only thing I had left of Luca's. But it's okay. Everything's gonna be okay. There's something inside me that shines brighter than any stupid jewel. The most important thing in the world. She opened her eyes again and fixed them on me. I could have lost myself in their depths forever. No one can take it from me. Not as long as I live. There was nothing else in the world I wanted but this. I doubted I ever want anything again. I only wanted this moment. All the clocks in the world could have stopped right then and there for all I cared. And that was exactly what I wished as I gazed at her. Goodbye, Serge. And thanks. She looked down, then turned away and disappeared in the darkness of the night. Would I ever see her again? Kid! Don't follow me, Serge. Please. Just don't. I strained to try and catch a glimpse of her, as the last traces of her shadow vanished toward a place I might never reach again. No! Kid! I leapt to my feet, meaning to chase after her, but a shadow soon blocked my path. McGill! Without saying a word, he slowly shook his head. Behind the mask, I saw sadness in his eyes. Then the shadow withdrew and melted into the darkness. McGill! Kid! Wait! Don't leave me! I screamed in the night, and there was no reply. The black silence swallowed my cries. Kid. Kid. And so ends another tale. Perhaps one day I'll see Kid and McGill and Riddle again, one day, somewhere, at another time, in another world. Perhaps none of us will even realize it. But that's a story for another day. For now, I must put down my pen. I closed my grandfather's diary. And then, from downstairs, I heard my mother calling. Did you hear me? Your friend's here. Nimble footsteps charged up the stairs. The door flew open. In tumbled a young girl, a girl who seemed somehow familiar. Hey, sir, it's a beautiful day for adventuring. I found a rundown old manor off to the woods to the north. You want to go exploring? Come, put down the book and let's go out there. It's a blurry photo. Yup. Such pixels, such blur. I mean, what do you expect? Like, this was an old PlayStation 1, like, visual novel, like, game that they finally decided to release to the US. What were they gonna do? Like, what were they gonna do to touch it up? Honestly, it's really good. I enjoyed it. Rip Ninja Bard Sage. Yeah, you're not wrong. I kind of like that idea of Surge. I don't know why I said Sage the first time. But I kind of like that idea of Surge. Like a ninja bard. Mouse. We're at 3.5 hours. So starting actual Chrono Cross on Saturday. I mean, we can start 30 minutes into the game. I know you said it's getting late. Yeah, it is getting late. It's 2 o'clock. Technically, I could go for another 30 minutes if we want to go ahead and get started. Because I normally stream for about 4 hours. So, like, it's 30 minutes early. Well, more like 28. But, so, so if we wanted to, we could get into actual Chrono Cross today. Because, like, we could probably get through the introduction, because that's easy enough. And, like, see how that actually is. Nixie, why are you still awake? Why are you in my stream? You should be in bed. Nixie, now you're making me concerned about your health. Like, my health is fine, but, like, holy moly. Oh, Finn. But, like, geez, like, girl, if I am not that you. What about me? You are not that. I am not that important. Your sleep is. I care, Vega. I care about you. Like, holy crap, Nixie. Wait, there's 7 endings for this? There are 7 endings for this. I don't even know how you would get the other endings. Welp. So, we can play this on a different occasion. I don't know if y'all... here, let me get past this so the music can calm down some. So, if we want to, on future occasions, we can come back to this and play it. Because I don't know how well y'all liked me, like, reading this. No. Because I normally don't, like... Well, I guess I do read text for the most part. But I didn't necessarily do voices or anything like that. Yeah, we'll quit the game. We're gonna turn that down a little bit. But, like, yeah, exactly. Wait, what do you, guess what seems right? I'm sleepy. Yeah, so we can go ahead and call it for tonight. because I know you're gonna be eager to want to like watch this and stuff like that. So we'll start fresh with Chrono Cross on Saturday. Everything seems right. Well, and wrong, and awake, and asleep. I'm concerned about this. Don't make me go find Jewel. Oh, I just got here. Syrup, you have missed a roller coaster. Like an absolute roller coaster. Also, why have you let the... That's because you are cute, Syrup, but like also, how could you let Nixie stay away? You missed a lot. Yeah, I know you've been busy with Dark. Also, how can you let Nixie stay up for 48 hours? Like, she got 4 hours to sleep in 48 hours. Exactly, that's because you're cute. I agree with Nixie, you're cute. Let's turn this down. I know she's been distracted. I know why she's been distracted. I know she has a guest. I'm happy she has a guest. They're adorable. What was I saying? So, just so Nixie's able to get some sleep, we will start Chrono Cross on Saturday. So tomorrow I'll probably do some Monster Hunter, hopefully around 4, because Nixie knows how to take care of herself better than I do. I questioned both of you. That's why it happened. I questioned both of you about taking care of yourselves. And that's coming from a guy who y'all say doesn't take care of themselves properly. So, yeah. I love the music for this game. So we'll call it here. I've got Monster Hunter tomorrow at 4, unless I'm at the... No, it's because Syrup's distracted. Absolutely, it's because Syrup's distracted. What up, Winter? How's it going? Nixie and Jubal need to go to bed. No you. She can't tell me nothing. Yeah, fair enough. We've got Monster Hunter tomorrow. We don't know what we're doing Friday. Go to sleep all 3. Winter is a grown boy. So he can do what he likes. So am I, and yet I get told by y'all to go to bed. Or to take better care of myself. So I don't know what we're doing Friday with Sugar. We'll figure something else for Friday. Saturday we'll be doing Chrono Cross. We'll actually jump straight into Chrono Cross. Ignore my background. I want to watch this at least once, though. Fridays will be weird in general. Friday will be weird in general. The love of my life. You're not wrong. What was the start of all this? When did the cogs of fate begin to turn? Perhaps it is impossible to grasp the answer now, from deep within the flow of time. But for a certainty, back then, we loved so many, yet hated so much. We hurt others and were hurt ourselves. Yet even then, we ran like the wind, whilst our laughter echoed under cerulean skies. Oh yeah, this game is absolutely beautiful. Much agreed, Nixie. This game is beautiful. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. Well, turn this up. There we go. Now you guys can hear that. I know you can hear the other bit. But, alright, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. This has been a blast. I enjoyed playing through Radical Dreamers. I'm curious to see how you would get the other endings. Look at those updated models. Look at those updated models. Oh, it's those two. And then that guy. Zoha. But, Night Vega, I'm excited for more. I'm excited for more too, Nixie. Like, this is definitely a game I will probably, like, we'll see if I end up playing through it multiple times. I want to, but it's maybe one of those games where I play through it and then, like, maybe try something else for a little bit and then go back and play through it. Or I can do it all at once. Who knows? But alright, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, it's been a wonderful stream. I appreciate y'all for being here. I appreciate everybody who's been here tonight. Y'all have been a wonderful audience. I appreciate all of your input for many things. I will hopefully see you tomorrow. Depends on how long it takes for me to convince my doctor to renew my prescriptions. And if everything goes well, then I will be here tomorrow at about 4 o'clock playing Monster Hunter. Time for everyone to go to sleep. Exactly. Time for everyone to go to sleep indeed. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. It's been great. I hope you have a great night. A wonderful day tomorrow. And as always, may the wind guide you on your journey. Good night, everybody. Goodbye. Ah, my mouse.